Oh my God, is this like live? People could watch it.
Yes.
Okay.
What, like there's pressure now?
I know.
Oh, I guess we have to be professional now, don't we? No.
I'm upstairs today.
You've got a very chill vibe going there.
Too, yeah. I got this slouchy chair. It's kind of cool. So what's new? What's going on?
So basically, you can lower the chair and be out of shot and just be a disembodied voice.
No. It's it's sort of like it's that kind of slouch chair. That,
okay. So it's a
Thomas
lounge.
Jefferson. Yeah, Thomas Jefferson type chair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when my boyfriend comes over, it's like, can I have that chair? No.
I'm always finding the lounge chair thing because it's just more comfortable.
Mm-hmm. This is nice. It's all leather. I got it off my neighbors.
Yeah.
They're like, how about $50? I'm like, yeah. So it's all leather. It's kind of got this cool curve and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Turn off the studio lights.
So you've got the room of darkness.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I just don't have all my lights on.
Oh, okay.
Because I got the well, okay, so I got a halo light for Dragon Con because there was there were a couple of moments where it was like I looked like I was literally regenerating as the panel was going.
Yeah.
And I just decided I had that light thing in my head, so I just decided I was going to get a halo light because it looked better. So I had a halo light on, and it kind of I don't have all the lights turned on around me, so it looks darker because the other light is like right above my head.
Above your head, okay.
Yes.
Does Master Chief come with that or no?
No, I didn't get Halo Infinite early either, so I don't know if I'd play it though anyway. So I don't know if that'd be of any use to me.
Well, I'm doing from my screen. It looks like I'm doing that documentary sitting off to the side.
No, that's why I thought it was cool, and I thought if you had like a Barker lounger or something, you could just Do
you have a cup of tea with a saucer?
I don't.
You could just kind of like lean back out of shot and just be out of shot the whole time.
Well, it's perfect because then up in the corner where you're not, we can put the graphics of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now we go to Rocks for the market news.
Meanwhile, John has Dazzler playing a show.
Does look at that?
See, I was gonna. I still insist that it's the John Pertwee Doctor Who opening titles.
That as well.
It's the 70s Who titles all over again.
Which my sister hates to this
Really?
day. Oh God, yeah. She's like apparently.
She doesn't like karate.
No. The first time she saw one of the episodes, she was actually on our sofa. She said she was so sick. Well, she was sick anyway, and then I'm watching Doctor Who, and she said, "Please turn it off. I can't look at it."
You know what I rewatched last night? Speaking of
What?
Doctor Who, I don't know why.
Why?
That's Time Bandits.
Really?
Yeah.
Sage's response was, "It's like they made two different movies. It progressively got better."
Yeah.
Like about the last third act was interesting. The other one was, I think what they
Have
said
they
was,
seen Brazil yet?
they said,
Oh, good Lord.
I think what they said was, I think they did the
How many
first
movies
two
do you
acts.
think that is?
I think this is the first two acts just so they could do the third act.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Welcome to Terry Gilliam's world.
I made my niece watch it, and she was just like, "Is that all there is?" Like, it was great. It's what we
I can't
had.
imagine actually watching that as a child because I don't know how screwed up that would make you. I don't. Because that ending is
remember,
harsh,
though.
man.
So
It's like until a certain age, children are just essentially tripping all the time.
Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, okay. So when it came out like 2 weeks later after Star Wars or something.
Yeah.
So I saw it first run in the theater,
Nice.
and I'm like, oh, I thought that was so great. I loved it. I'm like, man, to have a map of time and stuff, and just have that Polaroid. It's like you could do anything.
Yeah.
Rob, I like
Well,
your
that's the whole
t-shirt.
concept behind the series that they were working on at some point.
Was it? Yeah, but what was that other show? That horrible time tripping mess.
Doctor Who.
No, it was an American show.
Oh, was that the thing with John Eric Hexum?
I think so.
Voyagers?
Oh, yeah, Voyager.
That's it. Yes. Oh, it's
with the pocket watch?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Wow.
going to say there's so many.
there is
Quantum Leap, Sliders,
Outlander or whatever. Now.
that one with the newspaper.
Oh, I forgot
early
about
edition.
Travel as such, and like
Yeah.
I said, newspaper time traveled or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was called Early Edition or
Early
something.
Edition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the only thing I ever remember about that show, I must have watched just like 1 or 2 episodes of it, is there was a scene early on where the dude was trying to have a date, but there were 2 things he had to stop, like a fire and some other thing he was supposed to stop. So he picked as his date location a business that was halfway in between them, on the theory that he could like go to the bathroom and run and stop the fire and whatever. And the restaurant was called Waffles and Falafels. And I think that was the best thing that show came up with, just period.
I remember
the
that
concept
was
of
that
Waffles and Falafels.
the same time around the same time Due South was on?
Ouch.
Maybe, I don't know. Due South
Why
was
am
on
I-
in like the mid '90s.
Because I see like
Yeah.
there's a bunch of mid '90s shows that were set in Chicago for some reason, and I think Early Edition was one of them.
And they were all filmed in Canada.
Yeah.
So,
That's
Rox,
why
I
on Due
just
South
looked.
they always called it the lake we call Michigan, because it was actually like Lake Superior. 'cause
Yes.
They were filming in
Yes.
Toronto or somewhere.
So, Rox, I just looked.
Don't test me. I know
I'm-
everything about Due South.
I
I
know.
wouldn't dream of it.
I know nothing about you, so.
Yes.
So
It was
Time Bandits
very
came out
good.
November 6th, but there were no Star Wars films around there. However, your favorite Watcher in the Woods came out August. So
Oh.
Watcher in the Woods. What's that?
About a guy who watches the woods.
I'm not
Watcher in
hallucinating.
the
Right?
Water?
That is one of your movies, right?
Watcher
Watcher
in the
in the Woods?
Woods? No.
No?
No.
Where did I get that from?
I don't
It's-
know.
It's somebody's like
Oh, 81. Okay. So
yeah.
it came out, so that came out. When did Empire come out?
80.
80.
Okay.
So yeah, I was just curious. Apparently, Evil Dead came out like 2 weeks before, but I don't think you would confuse the two.
My thought was that he got the funding. He being Terry Gilliam got the funding to make the first 2 acts of the film. That's what the studio demanded he make, and then the last act is just
George Harrison's money?
Just George Harrison.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Oh, that was
yeah.
me. What?
It was George Harrison, yeah. George Harrison.
Handmade films.
George Harrison was the producer on
Yep.
Life of Brian and Time Bandits.
I forgot because at the end, my wife's sitting there watching this too, and she goes, "Is that George Harrison
Yeah.
singing?"
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. There was another one that kicked in
Oh
money
my
for
God!
too.
So there was a Sunday morning episode interview with Jeff Lynne.
Yeah.
Now that album makes sense of George Harrison's.
Which
Which
one?
Which one?
Cloud Nine?
The one I'm stuck on you. Which
Oh,
which
it's
one?
Cloud Nine. Yeah.
Yeah. It all sounds like Jeff Lynne's work.
Well, there's that whole spirit period of like the George Harrison, Tom Petty records that
Yeah.
Jeff Lynne was producing.
Yeah.
That all sound like kind of like ELO records.
Yes.
Well, and then they were in
I
Traveling
watched
Wilburys
it.
And then they
together,
were in
right?
Traveling Wilburys together.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is he never really did interviews. So it's like, why does that sound like that? And then does the Sunday morning interview? It's like, oh, it all makes sense now. It's like, yeah, it sounded so much like, the later ELO stuff.
Yeah, and that's why Jeff Lynne decided to not stop doing solo records that sound like ELO and just call himself ELO and get it over with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Because he would do solo records that nobody would pay any attention to, and then people would ask him, what's up with ELO?
Yeah.
And he just decided, okay, well, I have the rights to the name. I might as well use it. So technically, the last two Jeff Lynne solo records have been ELO records. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I just looked. Handmade Films did Life of Brian first,
yep,
and then before Time Bandits, they did The Long Good Friday with Bob Hoskins,
yep.
Oh, I forgot about that.
and then
Yeah.
with so, and their last one before they changed ownership was Nuns on the Run.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Oh my
like
God,
Nuns
yeah.
It
on
was
the
Eric
Run.
Island, Robbie Coltrane.
Yes.
Mm,
Not to be confused with the epic classic "The Pope Must Die" or "Diet."
yes.
Poor Robbie Coltrane. The poor man, Stephen Fry.
I mean, he's got Harry Potter money, so I think he's doing okay.
I don't think he cares.
Yeah, I think he's fine. He's not worrying about me.
You,
Madman's here.
Hey, Madman.
Hi.
madman.
He doesn't have his microphone in front of his face, but whatever. Well, there it goes.
There, it's been
Is
pulled
this
down.
thing on?
We all can't, have a full blown rave going on at our house like some people on this thing.
We should put that on the poll. What's he
Hey!
doing?
It's my
Oh
Nana.
my God, we now look like the Brady Bunch.
Did it?
What? Who was giggling at what? The Brady Bunch or what?
Wow, Lee, I love you, but
I think he's got a mental image of him at a rave.
Lee, I love you, but you look like a Gilda Radner sketch.
Oh,
Baba Wawa.
Eileen.
man, that was
I
built
win
up
again. I win
since
again.
somewhere around March 2020. I've been needing that.
Oh yeah. If we're talking about raves,
I'm glad that you actually heard it and caught it, right?
okay, wait.
Because it's
hold on a
completely
second.
over the head of a lot of things right now.
I
didn't
ignore
hear
raves.
all of it, so it's
I
all
ignore
fine. But
raves.
I would like to say something about a rave. Madman,
Oh, okay.
Madman, I
Mhm.
think I need to talk to you a little bit about my nephew and my son at a rave many years ago, because I do not think we are recording yet, right?
No, we're
So-
recording.
Oh,
We're live.
Oh,
So go ahead.
Look,
Let's have this conversation now.
Yeah,
Lee,
yeah,
is
we'll
that
edit this
everything?
part out.
Is that everything your son has told you about?
No.
Okay.
And on a very special episode of
So-
Meat Coffee.
The only rave I can really talk about is the Hitman one, so
Yeah.
Oh, well, but that's
I
good,
went-
though, because you
I
can set
went
a lightning
to-
rig on fire. It's awesome.
it's pretty
I
excellent.
went to two raves. One with LA Style, where they couldn't actually play. Everything broke, so everyone just stood around. It was lame. And then I went to another one with the Prodigy, Moby, and Altern 8. And
Oh,
I wore
wow.
an alternate. They wore surgical outfits and face masks that were yellow, and N95s that were yellow with an 8 on it. And little did I know that 19 years later, I could still wear it and be cool.
Yes.
I'm
Or at
curious
least a
who
little
opened.
safe.
I'm curious who opened and at what point did Moby put everyone to sleep?
It was the Ritz. It was when
Hold
Moby
on.
did it was when Moby was on Invisible, not before he was signed.
Okay. Okay.
Hold on.
Moby was last,
Yeah.
and the
Okay.
Prodigy was
Yeah.
second.
Okay.
And it was at the Ritz, and then there was an after party that I went to, and I had no idea at the time that used to be the Studio 54 until after I got there. It was pretty cool.
No. See, because there's pre-play Moby and there's post-play Moby, and post-play Moby puts everyone to sleep.
I don't know, his sad bastard music lately has been pretty
Really?
great. Yeah, that song he did with the Wayne Coyne's pretty good,
Yeah.
Yep.
and the Roxy Music cover's good.
I feel like there is one more person on the phone that I'm not seeing a little icon for.
You
I
mean
see
John?
Kim. Oh,
I am represented by
yes,
An
I see your little icon, right? And everybody else, I see
I
their
think
face.
pretty clearly.
Lee, it's because you're not on your stool. You can't see it because you're not standing on your stool.
If we're live, I
Oh,
didn't have
my.
to say a damn thing. That was fine. Oh, we lost Widge.
No way.
That's,
Oh, gone.
We didn't lose him technically.
Technically,
We know
we did
exactly
not.
where he is.
hold on. Hold on.
If the person
We
who's
also have a
supposed to
person in a
be
waiting
in
room.
the waiting room is in the waiting room.
Yes. Okay, I'm done. My moment is exciting.
JJ!
Hey.
Hey, there he is.
I'm no longer waiting.
And now
Well,
somebody
well,
else.
there goes the Fugazi joke I was going to do. Fine.
How long is your hair, JJ? How long is your COVID hair?
Yeah, COVID hair.
COVID hair.
Oh, well, no.
That was funny, though. I was, yeah.
Although, to be fair,
John-
I'm going in the opposite direction, so it's fine.
John, did you ever go to a rave? I know they were talking about this earlier, but
No.
Well, if you'd like to, next time I go to Dragon Con, there's one that happens that same weekend. If you really want to go,
there's one at Dragon Con every night at 2 a.m.
that's not
I mean, I
really
technically,
Not the same thing.
It's
I
not
technically,
the
yeah.
I
same
stayed in the
thing.
Hilton at Dragon Con, but I don't think that counts.
That's
Okay.
not. That is nowhere near the same thing.
Oh, dokie.
I
That's-
honestly think the closest I've gotten is the Berlin level of Hitman 3.
Lee, has your son tried X?
Wow. Wow.
What, the band?
You mean
Yes.
the band?
Yes. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yes.
Sure, that's
I have
what he meant.
no idea, Rob, but you know what? I can share in our private chat his phone number with you. And oh boy, I bet he would love you to ask him that question if you would like his private phone number.
No, I'm good.
You sure?
No, I'm good.
Well,
Okay.
we can call him here if you want.
No, thank
No.
you. No.
You sure?
No, actually, he's going to
You
work
say,
right now.
you sure?
You just need to tell him hypothetically to stay away from X. Look what it did
As
to the
in
Happy Monday.
ecstasy?
Yeah, look what it did to the Happy Mondays.
Look at what it did to Daft Punk.
Oh.
Too soon?
Oh.
Too soon?
No, not too soon.
Hmm.
If there's anything kids love, it's when their mom's friend asks them about drugs.
Exactly.
You sound like a
Is
cop.
it JJ? Is it asking or is it covering tracks?
My
Now here's
Rob's
the
a
thing.
total narc.
If one of the first three questions you're on the podcast again, aren't you? Then I'm disappointed in Kidlet. So
Teen lit, adult lit.
teen lit, adult lit. He's
Adult
always kid lit. He
He
was smarter than
turned-
me at some point.
He was. I know it's hard. Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Yeah, he was.
he was smaller.
Oh
than me.
yes.
Damn. You know. He is turning 22 in May.
God.
Yeah.
I know. I know.
Wedding picture signing
How
the
did
book,
that
and he's
happen?
so wee. He has to stand on a little stool
You have a picture of him where he's standing on a stool for what?
to sign the register at our wedding.
Yes, he was so weak.
That was Lee.
That was not me. You nub-nub.
Thank you.
I'm so glad I'm on this, and I have.
Well, that's somebody.
And Rox, I don't know how 22 happened either. I
What?
honestly don't. I don't know how 22 happened either.
Oh man.
I don't know how 29 years of marriage happened. I don't know how 22 happened. Yeah.
Well, you see, kids, there's sometimes when a man and a woman.
And yeah.
It's the
They
circle
really,
of life.
really love each other.
So I guess the follow-up question here, Lee, is do you need some X?
Thanks, Percy Sledge.
No, actually, I don't think I do, Tough.
Okay.
She needs some
No
Y.
problem. No problem.
Actually, what she needs is her usual drug, which is Z.
Trazodone, baby. I got me some
Lee,
Trazodone.
wake up.
John Boutel, screw yourself.
Hey, that's not very nice.
Nicer
sitting
than
in
what
the
I
dark-
really wanted. to say.
Man sitting in the dark trying to have a rave, and you're ruining his night.
All by his little self. Oh,
Yeah.
It's a COVID ray.
It is either a rave or the worst planetarium ever. I can't decide which.
I wish William were up there. Sorry, I wish
Sage.
his Sage was up there dancing with him because that would be awesome.
No.
Yes.
So how is everyone's apocalypse going?
A whole lot fucking better now. So
Well, we'll see how many people get the damn vaccine. That would be.
I go tomorrow.
Oh,
Oh, you
yes.
can get them in St. Louis
Congratulations.
already. Excellent.
I somehow got. I'm on 19 lists.
Okay.
A friend of
Wow.
mine-
Okay, but we're talking about the list for the vaccine, though.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh,
And
Not restraining
a friend of
orders.
mine sent me a text. He goes, "Don't ask any questions. Click this link now and do it." And it wasn't rocks, so I did it.
Oh.
And
Very true.
it was.
I don't have it yet.
It was Mercy Health here in St. Louis, and I was like, "Oh, wow!"
Huh.
So I got into Monday. I got all the way to the end of Monday, and they kicked me out. I got all the way back in again, kicked me out. Moved to Tuesday, kicked me out. I'm like, "Screw this! I'm going later in the week." So
Yep.
I got to Wednesday, and boom, I got a slot. And I don't know how because I haven't been able to.
Well, that's awesome. Did you?
That's
Is
nice.
it one for you and for?
No, but
Out?
I'm gonna
No.
try to see what I can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Which
everyone
one are you
likes it.
getting? Do you know?
We're getting Pfizer, so it'll be Pfizer 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one shot, and you only have to wait. What is it?
3
just
weeks.
the one shot?
No,
Or is
it's
it
two.
two?
It's
Yeah,
two.
It is
Yeah.
two, but you only have to wait 3 weeks. Okay,
I have
that's
to wait
good.
3 weeks. Yeah.
But is that the one you only have to wait 1 week until you can see other people? I think that's Pfizer.
I don't-
Moderna
I don't-
says 2 weeks.
I don't
so-
see other people anyway. I just see my wife. So,
No, that's
And she's not other people.
except work. But from what they told me,
Yeah.
expect some discomfort in the arm, and that I could just, unless I'm not sick, I can have my regular routine. So, yeah.
It seems if people are getting any symptoms, they're getting it off the second shot, not the first shot.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everyone I know that now has had both shots,
Mhm.
that work in the medical field. A couple of people over at your place of employment, Lee, and
where I'm
another
retired from.
Oh, well, I
She
did
is your
not know
Nana.
that. All right. My Nana's
But yes,
retired.
yes, but yes,
Wait. So did you retire or were you retired?
I retired.
Okay, continue.
Good try, but no, I was retired. Nor did I have to put in a resignation before firing. So
Wedge,
I'm
she
just
was
good.
not, Wedge, to be fair, she was not told she was the weakest link. Okay, stop it.
Do they have high chairs on the weakest link?
Hey,
Yeah, no,
But yes.
it's like getting one here is like obnoxious. And what's
So is it
interesting,
here.
what's interesting is that I have a couple friends that are in the medical thing, and none of them have had any symptoms at all yet, and they've had both their shots.
Well, I've had a couple where, like, literally, one of my daughter's friends works for an ophthalmologist. Between that and she works for a dermatologist, right? So she's juggling two separate fields, but so that required Lily to get the shots. And
Nice.
so Lily was fine the first one. The second one, she was down for 3 days. A buddy of mine from Con and fellow cosplayer, he's a pharmacist. He got his first shot. His arm was a little sore, no problem. A few weeks later, got the second shot and was down for 3 days. So-
Okay, but
Oh,
this
wow.
does not mean not to get your second shot, people.
No, believe me.
These are
Oh,
just
right. 3 days.
potential
Not-
possibilities.
That means it's working.
Exactly. I mean, I know a guy that once went down for 3 days and allegedly he walked out.
Yeah, it's a sign that your immune system knows what's what.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
But
I
does
mean,
that
I'm
have
Just
anything
trying
to
to
do with
make
the
sure we
vaccine?
do not put anything out about.
Yeah.
There are too damn many.
All I hear is that we're
people
going that there's
back.
lots of people going down, and I don't know what that's
Yeah.
supposed to mean.
That's what I would
Well,
just.
I
I'm like for 3 days.
Well, you know,
I can't wait. I can't wait to get my second shot.
Sir,
No, I
that
mean,
sounds like a personal problem.
I'm just gonna say.
Have
how
you
many
considered a family therapist?
Madman, you are the one that just insinuated that Jesus went down for 3 whole days. So
Hey, I really did.
you know, maybe
Okay.
maybe John really is dancing with himself.
you'll go blind.
It's been so long. I can't find that stupid button.
That's why he's got
See,
glasses
because you've
on.
gone blind. Told you.
Yeah, I mean, I
what's the
expect.
question?
I
There
expect
it is.
Icon
I
is in the
expect to
middle,
get,
so it's like
you know-
Knowing how hard that is,
And this episode of Need Coffee is brought to you by
And John-
There it
AARP.
is.
And
This is the
John,
one I was
just
looking for.
remember-
Would you like flesh of Jesus?
Yeah.
Good
Oh my
try.
God, I forgot about that one.
John, just to let you know that when you do go to your doctor about that little thing you were just talking about, they will have to test your heart before they give you a blue pill. I'm just going to let you know. Have
Listen,
to do a little
that's very
EKG.
rude on a podcast that's being recorded to talk about his little thing. Okay.
Get the
Yeah.
fluffer.
Yeah.
Well,
What are you
can
talking
put it
about?
in a little book.
They're not going to have to do anything to John. He lives in Florida. That is the
That's true.
capital of Sildenafil.
It's going to
If
come
it-
to a busy rave chaperoning schedule. So
Yeah. I'm.
So, John, did you get your first shot? Boo tell.
No,
Did you?
no.
Oh, I thought you said I
Okay.
can't wait till my second
And
shot.
not-
No, well, no,
Bye.
because anyway.
No, I
Because
He
get
lives
that.
in Florida.
If you
So,
do
Tom-
register, by the way, if you do register with Publix, if you go through Publix,
You get a
Here's
free
a little-
pub sub.
here's a little pro tip.
Okay.
Awesome.
At the end, so I went to register my mom, and at the end, after I registered her, because I don't know why they're making folks that barely know technology have to go through this process,
Great.
which is insane.
It's insane.
They don't know what to do. They're like refreshing, even though it says not to refresh and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, I got her registered, but there's another thing at the bottom. It says, "Do you want to register another person?" I'm like, oh, "Okay,
What?
That's what I was doing.
Sonia, call your parents. I know
Right
they're
now.
trying to get on." And so then after that person, after I did her mom, the phrasing, the
We were just gonna let that go.
John, I'm just
it then
really
asked
glad
it then
you're
asked if
taking
I
my
want
role.
another one. I could have done a whole entire
Why didn't you put
nursing
Sonia?
home.
Not without that.
Gotta take
blue
that out
pill,
of
you wouldn't.
context.
I
Not
think
with
we
that
were talking
little
about
pill.
lists before, right?
Wow. You'll be as popular as Wayne Newton.
But anyway, yeah, if you do public, if you go through Publix, you can register multiple people one after
So-
another.
Well,
So
why didn't you
basically-
register yourself and your?
Because
Tom
you do
Jones
have to be
over
over 65.
It's
Oh,
really,
right.
yeah, we're
So,
still
John,
at that.
you're saying Tom Brady got
yeah.
vaccinated before you, is what you're saying.
That's very possible. I assume he has.
Yeah.
So
it
how
sucks.
happy are you about that win, John?
Yeah, fuck that.
Mixed.
That's what I
I'll tell
thought
you
too.
why. Because exactly what happened. Exactly what I knew was going to happen happened when we got him. If we win the Super Bowl, it's going to be because of Tom Brady, even though it was all defense.
Yes, it was. A lot of
It's going to be
defense.
because of Tom Brady, and I wanted Bridgewater actually. To be honest with you. All we needed was a quarterback that wasn't going to throw as many interceptions as touchdowns. That's all we needed. So yeah, everyone says it's Tom Brady and Gronkowski,
Nope.
whatever. But that wasn't really what we would have done just as. I think we would have done just as well. Maybe not won the Super Bowl, maybe not gone to the Super Bowl, but certainly been in the playoffs with
Well,
any other
well, they
quarterback.
almost got to the Super Bowl with Fitzpatrick. So
It's
they were
Bridgewater
2 games
gives
away
you more
a couple years
years.
ago with there were
Yeah.
a couple of 2 games away a couple of years ago with Fitzpatrick. So
Yeah.
what does that tell you?
exactly.
Yeah.
a
So
lot.
that was- but anyway, but I'm also happy that my home team won.
Exactly. Take the
So-
W. Doesn't matter how you
I take
got it.
I take it, but I hate that it's like, oh, it's because Tom Brady.
Always
you know
take
what?
the
Yeah.
Well, think of it as not because of Tom Brady, but think of it, as in spite of Leonard Fournette.
Well, this is where all the old people go to retire, so
Yes.
it is only fitting that they would come down here.
God's waiting room.
Wow.
That was your sports
Seriously.
update.
But-
Now moving on to weather.
Okay, so I will say one thing about the potential apocalypse. I cannot believe
Potential.
Potential.
potential. Well, I'm sorry.
I'm seeing.
The-
I'm not sure.
potential.
I'm not sure if you've gone outside, Lee. And by the way, don't.
None of us have.
No, I don't. I went outside.
JJ's the only one who's going outside.
What do you? I went outside today.
I'm outside all
I have to
the
work
I went
still.
outside today. I actually did. I had an appointment today,
I
but
only threw 4 people out of the store today.
I went and walked like 6 miles. It was a really nice 69 degrees here in Atlanta. I walked about
beautiful
6
today,
miles
yes.
over on the trail near the
Yeah.
river. It was awesome.
No,
Yep.
I'm exposed to hundreds of people every day. It's
Yeah, me
my
too.
life.
I'm so
And
sorry.
they're all
Well,
idiots.
you should take those videos down off the internet then, sir. Or make them pay for your OnlyFans.
That's the best. You kidding?
It's,
He has way too many fans to take them down.
well, it's called Patreon, and then
The only thing that sucks is that the Oregon we had a tiered list of who was going to get the vaccine, and they just uprooted everything to get education going again. So all the quote unquote essential workers have been knocked.
The teachers here are like ready to go on strike because they're not even. They're like tier 1-7 or something. I don't know what the hell it is. Yeah, it's.
What was it? A school? What was it? A county here suspended a dispensary for vaccinating teachers.
Yes,
Yeah,
that happened.
I'm all for vaccinating teachers and getting kids back to work, but like
Getting kids back to work.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm all for those kids getting back to
We're
work.
all for both of that.
Yeah.
Wow, I missed the part where during the last 4 years the child labor laws got revoked, but I'm not surprised.
It
There's
was slid in there.
I'm all for them going back to school, but you just have to pay attention to the fact that kids
you know,
aren't-
I didn't think we were talking about Amazon yet.
Well, yeah, we've got the thing here is it's a train wreck because we've got fucking Mayor McCheese in charge. But like, so what they're doing here is all of the counties in Missouri that voted Democrat that lean Democrat are getting like the smaller amounts of the vaccine.
Oh yeah,
course.
that's happening across the country,
Wow.
especially in red states. That's happening across.
Yep.
So it's and our governor's an idiot. So yeah, so our governor thinks your governor is great.
I
So,
think we got a few governors and people on this call that are having a running competition for that.
I mean,
I will
honestly,
say, no, you go first, Rob.
I was just gonna say honestly, like our governor makes the governor from Benson look like fucking Lincoln.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
We've got an American Idol competition of stupid governors going on. It's great,
but we shouldn't.
Well, we shouldn't, and that's
No, we
actually
shouldn't.
the thing that's so ridiculous about all of this. And that's I went on a huge rant about this before, but this Operation Warp Speed. I love that they have scientists and doctors and everything else involved, and that is really, really, really important. But one thing I have learned in a couple of years working with scientists and academics, they can't operationalize getting out of a paper sack sometimes.
Yeah, that's
some
what
of
the
them.
National Guard's
you
for.
need your
So-
logistics and operations people to actually make
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
do it.
and warp speed doesn't end until you're at your destination, which was getting people vaccinated.
Although 9 out of 10 times in Star Trek when they did warp speed, it didn't end well. So,
Yeah, it didn't.
Oftentimes.
and hasn't Warp
Spoilers.
Speed actually officially ended now?
no,
Really?
no. Now
I
it's
I think I'd
now it's
turn
an
that off and
operation.
actually-
Now it's Operation
Which-
Throw It Against the Wall and see if it sticks.
Which I think
They retconned that.
yeah, I think they're calling it Plan 9 now.
Where's that
Yes.
from?
So where's
Because
that?
all you
so
of Earth
Plan
are idiots.
9 is
Yeah.
See your stupid mind. but no, I think that's just because the throw it
They're
at the wall
doing-
and see what sticks is at the state level, right?
Yeah, I mean,
That's a part of
yeah.
it.
I mean, like every time I signed up Janet, and then
Damn it!
Janet.
never do that around her.
I
Oh,
won't.
really? Really? Oh, okay. Good to know.
It's like the fucking Exorcist. Don't.
Your wife is one of the nicest people.
That
we
is so
know.
funny. I'm surprised I
No.
never did that in
You
front
know,
of
there
her.
is
Oh my
somebody
God.
that has a lower idiot threshold than me.
And that would be, yeah, well,
Yeah, well, she married me. She didn't
Yeah,
marry me for my
well,
look. She didn't marry me
yeah,
for my
she
looks
did.
or my
She
charm.
loves you.
Or your money.
No, not that either. Yeah, who wants to marry a guy that has 78 records? So yeah, but yeah, the whole thing's just been a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
I went to 2 because like what happened is they did a typo on the application in the city. They put, instead of the body mass being 50, they put 20.
Oh,
So like all these people that are like 9 were getting vaccinated, and then they had extras. So then they sent out a call to everybody that worked at Union Station, like at the aquarium and the Arch and all these, instead of calling like, I don't know, hospitals, right? So literally there's this whole thing here where people are going and trying to get in the walk-up things, right? They show up near the end and they try to get what's left. And then when I went to one 2 weeks ago, on a Friday, and I got all the way to the check-in, and the woman explained to me that what they were doing, because they were an actual affiliated with the hospital, is they have a line and it's organized, and they see 5 people in line. They go get 5 vials. They take them out so that they're not throwing away the vials. They're only pulling the vials out as they need them. So that's kind of been. I mean, there is some sort of a progression of a plan here, but it is not necessarily one that makes much sense. The rollout has been pretty slow.
But Rob just disappeared.
No, they got
We'll
him.
never. They found out.
They got
They
him.
found out that he's talking about him.
They got to Rob.
Oh God, help us all. But the other thing I think, which is driving me insane, is they're like, well, you know, health departments can do it. And I'm like, do you understand the cuts health departments have been, any state agency has had over the past 20 years? They can barely do what they got to do now. Oh, there's a banner there. And I'm very, so yeah, it just popped up on mine.
It's okay. Don't.
I mean, state agencies
Weekend
have had,
Justice distracted by production values.
sorry, yeah, it always amazes me. State offices.
Weekend Justice
have
brought to
been
you
cut
by Xanax.
No,
He's back.
There he is.
Sorry, that was brought to you by the Texas Power Grid.
Ooh.
Not too soon.
Hey, we came
Wow.
this close
Yes,
of selling our JEA to a
Yeah, I saw
private
you talking
company.
about that.
yeah.
Never do it.
Crazy.
Yep.
Crazy.
Never, ever,
They only
ever.
listened to Tesla in the first place. None of this shit would have happened.
They only
Well,
had one big hit.
What's that, KJ?
Tesla only really had one big hit.
Well played.
Well played.
Very nice.
And it
Sorry.
was somebody else's.
But yeah, it's just been a train wreck.
Look,
People are
It's been a train,
driving.
but well.
People are driving. Like I've got a couple friends that are driving to Arkansas and like Memphis or Hannibal to get it. So
Mm,
I
okay.
love it when a plan comes together.
Well, I think it's always a great plan. Okay, so state budget offices have lost over 50% of their original staff in the past 20 years. So they've had programs added and they've had requirements added. And guess what, folks? They
Chicken
can't
butt.
do it all. No, not chicken butt, unfortunately, this time. They can't do it all. And, you know, somebody will hear this and think, well, they didn't need all those people anyway. I don't know. Maybe they don't need people for tuberculosis testing or STD contact tracing or, I don't know, free vaccines. Sorry.
I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and Arthur's currently dying of tuberculosis. So
Oh.
well,
that's sad.
that's the
the
next
I'm
thing.
very upset.
That's the next thing coming. So don't get excited.
If there is one thing, though, that this pandemic has taught me, though, the way that people seem to be thinking is that you can make that argument about tuberculosis and free vaccines and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But what people seem to be thinking is, well, I don't have tuberculosis at the moment. I don't have an STD at the moment. So
I've never heard about polio.
So I'm not going to wear a mask over my face.
Right.
I mean,
That's what we're going to die of.
my mom worked in the polio wards in Seattle in the 50s.
Yeah.
And I've got all of her, like, I was going through her stuff and she had all these notes on it. She always talked about it. But, like, I found her book where she had to put, like, patient notes and crap in it. It's some scary ass shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then my third great grandfather was in the flu epidemic, right? So I've got, I think when I go tomorrow, I'm going to take his vaccination card from 1919 and I'm going to take my mom's vaccination card from 1954 with me so that it's all cyclical. Then maybe the combined juju will like make this not, maybe it'll open up a portal into time and space that will make this all go away.
No,
You
not
know,
that, but
And good news, John. Spoilers for Red Dead 2. You get to play the character you actually wanted to play anyway.
Yeah.
But
What,
yes,
the
Rob,
horse?
I think that's a great idea. Take all of
Yes,
them
the
and
horse.
let's all
Okay.
be like begging and
Yeah.
The horse
and
doesn't
make it
any
around
shit.
at 3
Yeah.
at midnight. I don't
What's-
care.
What's great is the doctor, the guy who I have a friend of mine who's a doctor who's at the radio station before me. So not only am I in the most sterile radio studio ever every week, but I can like ask him 10,000 questions. And I was telling him, hey, you know, what's going on with this? He goes, and he just goes, yes, you'll be able to have a drink when you're done. So that'll be good. So
Hey, it's Dom.
hey,
Hi guys.
Hi, Dom.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
morning.
Well, I haven't been to bed yet, so
Guten Tag.
good to talk to you as well.
Wait,
So
you
that-
haven't
yeah.
been to bed yet?
No.
No, Mom,
you're-
I haven't.
Okay.
Now twice.
Nana, you need to take a nap.
Hey,
I'm
no.
both a nana and a mom, and
Dom's a
He's
natural.
he's on Kraftwerk time.
He
Weekend
fits in
Justice,
perfectly.
we care for about 2 minutes.
yeah, for
Is this
about
the
2
room
minutes,
where
we
the
love
justice happens?
No, you've got the wrong
Is that a
country.
euphemism?
Try Canada.
I think
Canada
I now-
likes
I
it.
now
really
have
did
two.
anyway.
I now have two podcasts with people from Germany. This is nice.
Oh, tell me about the other one.
Well, so, Dragon Con, Carol, the track director for the X track. I mean, for the Urban Fantasy track. Lee, who is here with us today live, my nana,
Uh-oh. Someone's
is
in
the
trouble.
track director for the X track. But
Let's all back away from the podcast right now.
but Carol has has
It's got
been
real.
consistently doing Supernatural. We did the final season watch and recaps together. And
Yeah.
Beth is another member that has been doing that panel with me at Dragon Con for a gazillion years. Well, Beth moved to Germany like, I don't know, 3 years ago now. So for the final season, Beth would come show up every week. We would do it on Mondays following the show that weekend.
Well,
So yes, so I get lovely like photos like once a week of all of the snow and everything else you guys have been getting.
I wish I want to see snow.
Oh,
No,
Go to
no,
Texas.
get in your
It's
time
the
machine and
winter
come
in my
here last
Switch
week.
game right now.
My nephew is now nephew Big D, who all of y'all know, who was also a staff member.
Uh-huh.
He is
That's
now
not
in
a euphemism.
Spokane.
Nice.
He is now in Spokane, Washington, and he loves it. And he has
Doing what?
10 inches of snow. He
Running a dispensary.
not yet.
Lumberjack.
No, Jack.
No, that's actually a very true statement.
He's
currently-
Antifa, isn't he? He's
So-
the Antifa.
Okay, calm down.
Don't.
He is working a regular job, but he is also trying to learn about dispensaries and farming. And so he's actually making contacts and have gone to some of the dispensaries and talked to people. And please don't do that with my face. And
Oh, hey.
Oh,
whoa,
that needs to be
whoa.
on the soundboard now.
no, that does not need to be on the soundboard. But he is.
Please don't do that with my face.
I hate all of you. All of y'all. Bless your hearts, not.
Mm.
But no, he is doing all of that to learn because at some point it will be legal across the 50 states, and he wants to be able to, run a dispensary or run a farm or whatever because it makes sense.
Oh, so
He's in-
so Lee, if you need, I can send you. I did
I
some
don't know.
research for a
I'm waiting for what she wants to send you.
Across
The-
the line.
No,
Oh,
I did a report.
on the internet. On the internet.
I'm gonna send you a
Look,
package.
It's legit. No, it's a
No.
it's a report on how to set up your employees and dealing with employees in a dispensary.
Yeah, they
Oh,
have
very
two
cool.
in our. We now have
So-
two in our neighborhood. So
I
yeah,
think
it's
my
happening.
alarm's going off in my car.
Well,
Yeah,
he is. That is very interesting, and that would probably send it to me on email.
Okay. All right.
But
So he's
I-
in Spokane, right?
he's in Spokane because Seattle was way too fucking expensive.
Does he understand?
Yeah.
I know he wants to get into the dispensary thing, and this is a thing where your son could get involved too. But do they understand that the real money in Seattle, in Washington State's in heroin?
No, and I'd
He's
really
not wrong.
not like to bring that up to them. Thank you.
I could use some crystal meth.
You know, heroin
What-
gets
what-
such a
what
bad
is
rap.
JJ? What is J?
there was
JJ?
just
JJ's
article
watering his
earlier.
plant.
Oh, I was like, what is JJ showing us?
I have 2 ferns behind on the other side of my computer.
That's a different show.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I heard he was trying to
You
make
don't
us
have a
go
license
That's
away.
Zach Galifianakis.
No, this is if we had like the 5D set up for StreamYard, then all of us would be going, oh, stop.
Which?
shoot.
Why are you calling from your 80s phone, though?
And in the dark.
This is my Boston fern.
Mhm.
Oh.
What?
Is the
called
other one your
Amanda?
Kansas
Is it named
fern?
Amanda?
No, the
Huh?
other one is a. Well, it's the problem is I just watered them, so they're dripping, and I don't want to drip on my computer. This is a Nicholas Diamond fern.
Oh, very pretty.
That's nice.
Ferns are awesome.
That's what I
Yes.
have been doing in
Yeah.
since I can't have any sort of. I just got water on my computer because I can't have any off time. Or not. I can't have any like downtime, and you can't go anywhere. So I'm growing plants.
So JJ, send me your address. I have records for you.
Ooh, okay.
I'm not very to say they're good, but yes.
Correct.
It's mostly 37
No,
versions
no.
of Aha, but you know, whatever.
No.
Yanni's greatest hits.
It's a collection.
I'll send you a list of
bluegrass-
what it is, and you can tell me if you want it or not.
It's a collection
Kenny
of
G
bluegrass artists
Duotones.
covering.
No.
Actually,
Yes.
Dom, I wanted to ask you a question.
Yeah.
How? So Canada likes the U.S. again. That's been lovely. So how does Germany feel about us so far?
Yeah, first of all, welcome back.
To the international stage.
You've
Welcome
been
back
gone
to
for 4 years. I have
normal.
no idea what you've been up to.
Yeah. I'm here.
We- I'm sure you're familiar with The Office. We tried a version of that and it didn't work out.
It did not work well at all.
No, not at all.
Mistakes were
So
made.
that's me in the chat, Rob.
I think we are all too busy with our own shit, which is usually
Oh.
COVID. So we were very happy when Biden took office, and I think everybody's now ignoring you because we are dealing with, getting our
Other
vaccinations and all of that.
Normal is boring, and I'm okay with that.
Yes.
Well, normal and
The adults in the room.
pragmatic, and it's like there's no shout. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Now you have to criticize with arguments because they actually did something wrong and that's insane.
Yeah, you actually have to really discuss why you have differences, not just you're a fucking asshole.
You
And
clearly
dumber
have
than
never
a
been.
rock.
You clearly have not spent enough time in Missouri.
No, well, I am in a red
I
state.
but I literally got into a fist fight with a guy the other day. He was trying to explain that the Mars landing was filmed in fucking Wyoming.
Wow.
Wait, what?
No, we know that shit was filmed in Dallas.
Yeah,
fucking
No,
Wyoming.
that was another.
You're wrong.
I know.
It was Nevada.
Actually, I thought it was in Vancouver, in that place that the X Files.
Oh, where the-
No. It's not in Vancouver.
Where the
'cause
X
it's not
Files
a-
and all the Third Eye Blind videos were filmed. Yeah,
It's
okay.
not a CW. It's not a
Oh, you
CW
mentioned
show.
Third Eye Blind. Oh shit.
The Martian Landing is not a CW show, so it's not filmed in
I
Vancouver.
can't believe. Well, look, I love it people who are talking about our state like, oh, your governor's so great. Oh, your
Look.
Secretary of State's so great. No, they aren't. They're assholes.
Whenever.
Which, let me help
People
you.
said because they stood up to the dumb infant that was in the
You
White
need
House.
light.
They're assholes with a conscience. Yeah.
They are people who followed their oath of office.
I think the better question is who are those people
The
and what
bare
drugs are they on?
minimum of acceptable competence.
Well,
As
having
a public
Heroic
official.
by
having
contract.
spent a substantial amount of time with family people trying to explain to them that 2 presidents that we have had recently have not had face swapping surgery. I can tell you that these people
Wait,
exist,
what?
and they're
No. Here's what you do, Rob. You tell them that John Woo is personally supervising the next
They won't know.
administrations.
They won't know who John Woo is. They'll think it's the
Watch,
guy.
watch for
they'll
the
think it's
dogs.
the guy.
It'll be a
They'll-
signal.
They'll think it's
Agent
the guy.
Coulson is in charge of all of it, so I don't know what the hell y'all
They'll
talking
think it's the guy from Barney Miller.
people who are
Like
going to
disrespect
believe,
Barney Miller like that.
I
people that are going to
know.
believe
I
that
know.
presidents have had their face swapped, but anyone who's going to believe that they actually swapped their face is already going to say horrible things about Asian Americans at the moment anyway.
Yeah.
So
You leave Marjorie Taylor Greene out of this.
I want to know who swapped faces with people. Which president swapped faces?
well, that's one
I
of the
haven't heard-
QAnon
Trump and
things.
Biden.
I believe it was President Travolta and President Cage.
Yeah.
Well, and
That would make more
the
sense.
snow in Texas was fake and put there by Bill Gates.
Really?
Oh no, it was AOC, but then she brought $5 million there to kind of help people out. That stopped.
We had 2 days of snow here and then an ice storm on top of that. So my entire the transportation agency that I work for was shut down for a day, but they still made us come into the garage. So that was great. Last Monday, I'm still waiting to see if I get COVID in the next couple of days because they shoved through something like 350 drivers.
Oh,
That we all had to stand,
Whoa.
we all
To
had to
stand
in the
around?
for 8.5 hours for me. That was my shift. Just
Wow.
because if anything happened to where we could hit the road, we had to be available.
Mhm.
So
Well,
that was
I mean, I guess that
work-related.
somewght makes
What a
sense.
great
but-
idea.
Not at all. It
Yeah.
makes absolutely
But-
no fucking
But
sense.
you would think you would have more of a heads up than just, oh, suddenly it's okay. Everything's okay.
Yeah, and
Well, we had,
because
Yeah.
the roads were so bad, it took me 3.5 hours to get to work, and then I'd sit there for
Whoa.
8.5 hours to just like hope that I wasn't sitting there in a super spreader event. As
And-
of course everybody was talking and eating lunch, and
Fun.
And he only
Yeah.
lives 3 blocks away from his work.
yeah, it was awful.
yeah.
It was almost 3 blocks.
I mean, it wasn't nowhere as bad here for me as it was for you. I just didn't leave the house for 6 days, but we had like 17 days below 12,
Oh Jesus.
It got to 46 here.
and the wind chill was.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the
I'm
wind,
so sorry,
the
John.
worst of the wind chill was when it was minus 35. That was the one that was like, okay, there's nothing that's going to keep me warm. Please pass the gin. So
That's been one of the things I've been wondering about my nephew, and is like he probably had to go buy like a real coat because he's lived in South Carolina all his life. He probably had to get like a real coat. His girlfriend had to get a real coat. Yeah, poor things.
Well, you can't even buy real coats here a lot of the time. 'Cause
I-
There's not a demand.
Yeah, you have to buy them online.
Well, and as someone who went from Mississippi to the Pacific Northwest, it's a whole different kind of cold too.
Oh, it
It's
is.
a
Yes.
lot
Yeah.
wetter.
Yeah.
it's a wet, nasty cold.
And so for that, now I worked in warehouses for years that had no heat, so I'm kind of immune to it now. Unless it's like freezing, I'm fine with a hoodie. But that first winter you come up here, you have a 50-degree day and you're wearing like 8 sweaters and and a
I'm a
raincoat.
delicate southern peach blossom. I have to be kept warm at all times.
Well, here in Florida, North Florida.
I'm sorry. Yours was 46 degrees too. Vic?
No, ours is like 50. And that's the time when everybody breaks out their Ugg boots.
Yeah.
Wait a
It's
second.
Yeah,
like,
50
what?
We put our
I would say.
we put our chains in our tires.
What?
They're
Yeah.
really warm, those boots.
Those boots are really warm.
Really
They're
warm and
almost
fuzzy on your
too
foot.
warm, though. They're too warm.
No, see,
They're great.
I am always cold.
They're really
Yes,
nice.
they're really good. And
They're
Kim and I are
basically
cold.
They're in public
100%
version
of
of
the
those like LL Bean slippers with the shearling on the inside, which is what I wear when I'm inside the house, and sometimes when I'm outside the house if I can't be bothered to change my shoes.
I'm not going to tell anybody. You going to tell
They got
anybody?
rubber bottoms. That makes them shoes.
They look like real
Those
shoes.
shoes.
They're real
And to be fair, if all you're ever going to do is like go get in your car and go to the place at the grocery store where they bring the groceries to you, and
Exactly.
if
It's
you're
a-
never actually going to get out of the car, then you're fine.
I
Kim,
go
you had on
curbside
pants.
things,
You were good.
get Starbucks through the drive-through and go to the doctor. That is what I do. None
Look,
of these really require much in the way of excursion footwear.
Yeah, we're doing
agreed.
groceries getting delivered, except if we have to run and get like milk or something weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
and we're only going to businesses where we know, like there's this huge strip that's all like our version of Chinatown, and literally they're not playing around. It's probably the safest stores in town. And you call ahead and they pull everything, and we know we're only going to businesses where we actually know people. Because and it's like, okay, we know that they're sane and smart, and then like we have this, we've gotten the nice part of this, we've gotten to kind of know our.
Everybody's that doesn't
John,
really go
there's
well.
a pandemic going on. Please
We're
be
the
miserable like the
state
rest of
that's
us.
open though.
He's
Haven't
not
we
ready.
suffered enough?
Yeah, open for like thousands of people fucking dying. I mean, if you're old, I mean.
No, well, the thing is I know now. So most of my board on my library board, they're all vulnerable. They all got vaccinated. So I know more people. I know at least 20 people that were able to, in my circle, that got vaccinated. So that's good.
Yeah, my mom is actually signed up and should be going. I think her and my brother-in-law either by the end of this week or the beginning of next week. What has happened is, and of course, this is where we play the sad music. So most of you know this already. My father passed roughly 3 weeks ago. With that, there was some in and out of the palliative care and everything else with the hospital. So literally, she got to see him maybe 2 days before he passed. And then she was at home, really wasn't feeling that great anyway. And then all of a sudden now her and everyone had, her, my brother-in-law, and one of my other sisters all got COVID. Like a week, like they got tested. Everyone tested clear. We moved, like my father dies that Monday. Everyone tests clear, with by Tuesday. By Wednesday, we are moving my mom into my sister's house. And by the end of the week, they're all just kind of not feeling well. And that beeping noise is my bird. Right. And so they're not feeling well. But everyone has tested clear. Everyone's fine. Nicole got tested. My daughter got tested. Like everybody's fine. And then the following week, like her and my brother-in-law, my brother-in-law is immunocompromised as well. So like they're both down between grief and everything else. My mom was just was out of it for like a full week, and is finally, up about calling people, finally making phone calls and what have you. But they've already been sick, and now they were like, oh, well, you just had it. You've got to wait, and then we can as soon as possible, get you your test set up. So now that all that's been cleared by now, so that
good.
Was the last word we got on that one. Was okay, either I think Friday or Monday and Tuesday.
That is a very loud bird.
How do you know you're not having a fire in your house?
My house is always on fire.
That's secret.
The roof.
We don't need no water.
I don't sing. My mother has both of hers, and so I am actually thinking about going to see her, because when I go to see her, we only stay in the house anyway. So, if that's been the biggest worry, I think, for so many of us. And Damien, you're there right with it, is, when you have parents and relatives that are in a high risk group, you're terrified. You don't want to bring it to them.
Yeah.
Especially if you can bring it to them and not know you have it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, I was talking to Janet about this, because there's a whole mindset of like, okay, when you're getting the first one, you're like, okay, I'm almost there. And then apparently after you get the second one, it's like insane, like just an emotional like insanity. So I'm trying to prep for that, but I'm also like, I was talking to Janet, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to I've got free time. I'm going to like harness every resource I can to like track where vaccinations are for other people I know that need them, as like my pay it forward thing. Because it's such a mess here. Like I'm at a computer at least 2 hours a day if I'm working on freelance thing, and I've signed up for all these bulletins anyway. I might as well not just, instead of just deleting all of them after I get mine, forward them to someone who needs it,
Yeah.
So I think that's the only way this is going to sort of get tempered now, is everybody just sort of like, it's going to have to be this like grassroots thing almost.
I mean, Biden has said that there will be enough out there that we will be able to hopefully have everyone vaccinated by summer.
Right.
I'm really hoping. I know that it's going to be a while. They've talked about, we might still be masking into next year, and that's. I really hope that that masks kind of make their way at least slightly into society anyway. Because I personally have enjoyed not having a cold for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally enjoy looking like a supervillain at all times going through
That's
public.
kind of cool.
I
Recognize it,
found all
people.
these ones that coordinate with my outfits and or have Hawkeye on them. So
And the amount of people
Oh, I
that
need
keep
to
that
every place I walk into, I'm going to do a heist. I like that.
yeah, and
Yep.
people can't silently see me mouthing "Go fuck yourself" all the time.
I know, isn't that the best part?
Well, here's
That's
the thing.
best part.
That is a
I
really
can
good
now
part.
go into Publix in my hoodie with a mask on, and the Smyrna PD doesn't look at me funny. I look like a normal person. I'm like,
You look like a
wow, I'm in an
normal
all black hoodie, a black mask, and I have a firearm, and
You
no
know-
one's saying shit. This is amazing.
My
know,
big
folks,
thing is-
the benefit of also wearing a mask is people never have to know if you're actually being sincere or being sarcastic.
I know, this is heaven.
True.
Oh, but
Yep.
I've done that for 46 years already.
I know.
Well, yeah, there's the point.
My problem are my eyebrows. My eyebrows speak louder than everything else in my face. So
Yeah, my eyes will just tell you whether I mean it or not. Yeah.
At the beginning
but I'm
of the
sticking my tongue out quite a bit by now.
So I have to ask you this. So in Germany, is there like an insane section of the general population that just doesn't wear masks or
Yeah.
just pays no attention to any
Yeah.
of this? Are they as nuts as we are?
Idiocy is international. We have them.
But we have a certain brand of it that's just choice, like vintage wine,
Oh yeah. Look, Rob.
couple of those
The
who-
other
who-
week we went to so like literally we went somewhere, me and my daughter, and I stopped at a convenience store, and literally you could tell the difference of, okay, we are no longer, we are further out past Metro Atlanta,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you walk in the store and you immediately see exactly that cross section of people where the employees are masked up, other people in the store are masked up, but not heart disease and hypertension over there with
No.
Yeah.
nope, not at all. Just walking in, no mask whatsoever. And it wasn't like just one. It
No,
was
no.
like three of them
Yeah.
separately, and I'm like, wow, you are in the demographic
Yeah.
to die from this. And you're
Yeah.
like,
You are the target
give me
audience for
about 10 of
virus."
them scratch-offs back there.
but at least you don't have to deal with meth heads and trying to explain to a meth head they need to put on a mask.
Oh, yeah, that's majority. I get a lot of that.
Well, JJ, I would just try to sell them fake meth. They're going to buy it.
Just say, hey, did you hear Fish is playing, and point out the door.
Meth heads aren't listening to Fish, Rob.
Here they do. Here, like a lot of the meth head population is like all like just crazy hippies.
You
No,
guys-
man, that's methadone. There's a difference.
I was about to
Oh
say,
no.
really, really mellow meth.
Yeah. Well, we are the meth capital of the United States. We have more of it than,
Congrats.
Yay!
Achievement unlocked.
I mean, I don't know. I'm at the point where instead of dreaming that it's final exam day and I never remembered that I didn't drop the class, despite the fact that it has been 21 years since I was in college.
Mhm.
Now I dream that I'm in a crowd and I don't have a mask on and nobody else does, and it wakes. That's what my anxiety dreams are now: is naked faces.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're all
Here's-
gonna have
here's
like
the funny part.
cultural agoraphobia after this. I feel like I get stressed out if I see a full parking lot like driving by.
Oh yeah.
Mm,
But there are
Well,
other people.
I find it weird that basically I'll be watching something on television and I'll see people who are close together and I will feel anxiety for them, but it was something like shot in the 70s.
Right.
So it's like so completely removed from today. Oh wait, no, not those.
Not
No.
every movie in the 70s was porn.
Says who?
Wait,
Although
Was
most
it?
were.
Who lied to you?
What?
Who lied to you?
I didn't grow up in the 70s. We grew up in, I don't think.
Yeah, I was
Who lied
watching,
to you?
It might not have
Brilliant.
been on camera, Dom, but I assure you.
Okay,
it was
okay. I was
happening.
born in '82. What do I know?
I was watching a show where it was like a school that had like a parent teacher day, and everybody was in the like, auditorium really close together, and I was like, that is fucked up. It was really strange how just seeing that group was crazy. But I'm really hoping that we do get vaccinated enough that my big hope for this year is that by December I can travel.
I know. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, and but I also think, we were talking about wearing masks and things like that. I hope we can travel too. I hope we can get to conventions again. In person.
Yeah.
I hope things like that. But no matter what, it's going to be a new normal. I do think masks are going to become a part of our
I mean, I hope so.
daily life.
Well, we've got a person that I know that lives up the street that I know from Con, right?
Mhm.
And he has consistently worn mask like long before this, and that has been his explanation. He was like, you ever been to Asia? This is normal, right? He said every year people come down with Con crud. I'm not doing it, and Robert shows up in a mask.
We have a large, because of Washington University, we have a large Asian population, and they've always worn a ton of masks. It's always been a thing.
Yeah.
Nobody's laughing at them now. None of my racist neighbors are fucking laughing at them now.
I was amazed when I went to Bangkok.
They are.
And when I went,
Beneath the
well,
mask.
yeah, no, they're still laughing. I went to Bangkok. I've been to Africa. Spent a little tiny bit of time in China. Everybody wears them. If they are sick, if they think they are sick, or if they just think all human beings are just nasty, dirty people, they wear them.
Yeah.
You can see them, and it's normal. Nobody, and it won't. You can breathe through them. So help me, God.
It's interesting. One of the places that I've lately noticed this a lot, and I think it's more just a reflection of I've played several video games recently that are set in like modern day Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at crowd scenes and background characters in those games, there will be you'll see people with masks on. You'll see people with masks on in the background, like just
now
scattered throughout the crowds. And these are, things that were made years ago. Like you'll see it in like Persona 5, you see it in like the Yakuza games, because it's just such a normal thing that you see, especially in, I guess, big cities there. So I'm hoping we can kind of keep that up because, yeah.
Well, thinking about the future of cons, and so Lee, don't listen to this for a sec.
Mm-hmm.
So when Dragon Con comes back, or is it safe to assume the Whedon track's dead?
Oh
no! Actually, it's been.
That's where we're going, huh?
It's been dead for a while. Actually,
This is how we segue in.
By the way,
No,
Dom,
here's
with
the worst part.
vengeance, That's how.
The worst part is
I didn't get the first
that
part.
it's going to be the Snyder track now, be in a different aspect ratio, and it's going to last forever.
Or it'll be the James Marsters track, because he comes
But the
every
mustaches
year.
will look great.
Yep.
Did you hear
And
the
everyone will be
reasoning
weirdly spiteful
by
for
Snyder?
no apparent reason.
The reasoning
What?
by Snyder why he's doing the weird aspect ratio?
No,
Because
what?
Well, because he wants
Superheroes
it to be seen
are
in
more
IMAX later.
vertical characters.
They're
Just
what?
That
Superheroes
too.
are more vertical, he said.
More
Whatever.
vertical.
Yeah. Unless you put 6 of them in a row, then
I think what it is
Let's try
while he
this.
was-
Did he
while
not
he
Yeah,
was- while he
there's
was
there's your
Did he
aspect
not
ratio.
watch Super Friends? They were all horizontal.
I think what it was is he really likes the camera angles from 60s Batman, and that's what he really wants. And,
God.
you know, if you can't let a guy reshoot his movie for 6 hours and,
No.
you know, have Batman '60s angles. I mean,
Seriously,
Sure.
no
what is your
bad will
streaming
towards
service
him.
for?
Yeah.
Honestly, let him do whatever he wants. I just think it's weird.
It is weird. And I got a question though about Whedon. I'm not talking about Whedonverse. I'm not talking about the track. I'm talking about Whedon. Is he finally going to get his comeuppance? This has come up repeatedly over the past 5 years, ever since he did Age of Ultron and had some absolutely terrible lines in there. So will it?
I mean,
I'll
I think
tell
there's
you
a
this
gradual accumulation of awareness kind of spreading out over time of more and more
Maybe,
ways in
yeah.
which he's a gigantic jerk in
Oh.
more and more places and times, so that it feels like it's been a gradual dawning awareness throughout a lot of just kind of the fandom in general.
Mhm.
And also because we're getting farther and farther away from the times where you could really, where it makes any sense whatsoever to rest on any laurels from anything he did earlier in his career. Like,
Yeah,
there comes a point at which you need to do something new, or just stop depending on your reputation from something you did a long time ago. And as
Well,
people are
didn't-
less intimidated by you, they're more willing to talk about what you were actually like to work with, aka
Right.
awful,
Not an
or
asshole.
be married to, aka
I mean-
awful.
I mean, let's be
Yeah.
honest. It really doesn't make Angel season 4 any less messed up.
Mm.
It just makes it more messed up.
I mean, he
I
had
So-
thought nothing could make it worse.
no.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because I remember doing the review of Angel season 4 at the time, going,
Mm.
"This is messed up."
this
And-
is not too well. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember saying,
JJ, what
that,
were you going to say?
"Oh, this is really messed up."
Oh, I was just gonna. I mean, he did have that show that he was developing for HBO, but he stepped away from it before it hit HBO. So I don't know how much that's going to be connected to his legacy, or
Yeah.
how much he was involved with it.
Well, there was also a Buffy
Well-
reboot that was also in development at HBO, and I don't know if that has been derailed because of Disney, because Disney now owns Buffy, and that's another interesting thing. Where is Disney on all this? Because they have
Well-
the rights to Buffy and Angel at this point.
Okay, actually,
Probably
And
staying
that's-
well out of
thing
it
is-
because they've got a
Yeah.
lot of stuff going on.
Exactly.
You know,
And Firefly and Serenity.
But
Yeah.
Disney
okay,
was pissed at him with the Coronetto thing. So
Yes, but
let us.
But
Disney is
any,
put him
if
away for a while.
anybody I'd like to hear ring in on this is Dolly Parton.
Oh
yes.
Yes.
I'm
Always.
sorry, because it was her company and she greenlighted the whole thing. So it's like the last person you want to piss off is a national
Dolly
treasure.
It's Dolly Parton.
And
yeah.
that's Dolly Parton. It's
That's
like,
exactly
are
damn
you
right.
fucking stupid?
down
Do you
the
wanna
list of
piss off? I
No, he's
I
a white
called the
man.
bath up.
No, he's a white man who's heterosexual, and the level of entitlement cannot be measured on any normal fucking scale because
So-
he had
Let's look at her
one
calling
tiny
you
bit
up.
of hit.
So the
Sorry.
list of people, just so we're clear, the list of people Dolly Parton should be pissed off at is Joss Whedon and the producers of the Dixie Stampede show. Is that what we're saying?
Well,
Yeah.
she did make the early yes, because she made the Stampede people change that story, and she got a lot of bullshit for that. And she said, "I own where y'all are doing it. Go fuck yourselves." Although Dolly probably never ever said that. She probably said, "Bless your heart, you're
No,
fired."
she
No,
said
without
it.
me.
No.
Oh,
Say
I
it.
would love
I've
to
seen
be a
some
fly on
interviews.
the-
She said
I
it.
would I would like to be a fly on the wall of her calling him up. Honey, this is Dolly Parton. It'd be like,
I don't think Dolly
Oh.
actually makes calls. I think somebody connects them for her.
wait.
I bet they do.
Yeah,
Yes.
probably.
Dolly's got people for that.
Dolly's got people, and
I'm sure
probably
Dolly
from her
I'm sure
hometown,
Dolly has a
it's a
whole
living
army
wage.
of people that enjoy yelling at other people.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't know. So, hey, Rob, you get Prime, right?
Yeah.
Have you been watching that series on like the great classic albums?
Yes.
All right, my boyfriend watches it. I don't, except for the one on Peter Gabriel's "So."
Yes. Underrated.
It's an excellent. That one's an excellent episode because Peter Gabriel wanted Dolly Parton instead of Kate Bush
Yeah.
for that one
For Don't Give Up.
duet.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And she's like, I don't know who he is.
I mean, to be honest, if anyone was given the choice of working with Dolly Parton or Kate Bush, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
every time.
Yeah. But that was that's a really cool episode because it took him almost like a year and he created his own studio
Yeah.
to put that album together. And I was really, really impressed with it. And I'm a Peter Gabriel cultist, I guess, from way back. Because it's like, yeah, he's always had a cult following. I'm like, I'm one.
Yeah, I remember one of Peter Hook's books where he was talking about it was they were the next people to make a record after he built that studio. And
wow.
And they got thrown out of that studio.
Yeah.
Peter Gabriel personally threw them.
Library of people's biographies of getting thrown out of things.
Yes.
Yes.
So Peter Gabriel personally threw New Order out of his studio. So
wow.
Way to go.
Way to go.
Why?
But yeah, if you guys have Prime,
Shenanigans,
Shenanigans
is really
dealers,
Dealers.
They were dealers at the door at all hours.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
but the thing is that's out in the country too.
That's why that's what made that
Well,
unusual.
That's
And
why
part of
that's
it-
the problem.
And part of it too is that Peter Gabriel is a massive control freak about every single thing.
Oh my God! It was.
Which in terms of for what he does, I'm not going to complain because I completely get it. But
Well, he had admitted it that it would take him forever to do another album.
yeah, and part of it too, he says it's almost like a PTSD from Genesis because he always had to fight for control of what he wanted in the records, and yeah.
Because bands.
We were watching. What was that on Netflix? The series about specific songs.
Song
Exploder.
Yeah, that's great.
That's really great. We've really been enjoying those.
Yeah, those have been good. His podcasts on those were actually really good too.
Yeah, I think he's still doing the podcast. Yeah.
I always enjoy where I can hear somebody who really knows what they're talking about explain why something is good, even if the thing itself I'm not really into.
Yeah.
You know, like if you can explain it well, it's always so interesting to me to hear, like, this is the thing about this particular example that makes other people who know it well think it's the best, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was at a comic book shop. This weird segue, but I was.
What's that?
What's
simply
our comic books?
You go on Mondays when there's nobody there and you can actually shop. But the woman who runs the shop there, Books with Pictures, which is my favorite shop by far, was telling me that a friend of hers is starting a Doctor Doom podcast that's going to focus chronologically every appearance of Doctor Doom ever. And
you have to send me that
Really?
when it comes out.
And it's going to be chronologically in order of actual, not like published appearance, but also taking into account time travel.
Wow.
No, this is where, and they're basically going to like talk about each appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she was asking me if I was a Doom fan. I was like, not really. But then again, listening to somebody who has like done the footwork in that amount of detail makes me kind of want to listen to this Doctor Doom podcast.
Right.
He's greatly misunderstood.
Yeah.
Is he now?
says the grouchiest man on the podcast.
Is he now?
Yep.
Is he?
Well, that's why.
Rob,
I like
how
our
is
Time
it greatly
BBC
understood?
podcast.
Duty to your lab partner.
Bingo! Everyone all talks at once.
Wonderful.
Thanks. No, the In Our
I
Time
didn't say
podcast from
anything.
BBC is basically like,
Oh yeah.
it doesn't matter what they're covering. It's fascinating because it's three people who know their shit talking about it. It's like, oh, here's some obscure philosopher from the 17th century Middle East that you've never heard of, but we're going to talk about it for 45 minutes in depth. It's like, okay, sure, absolutely, hit me.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
We've been here for 5 hours. You want to do introductions now?
Oh, sure.
Crap.
Wait.
I was early then.
That
Okay.
early? Or
Yeah, no, I
too
know.
Early?
I spent the last 2 weeks trying to make a reproduction of a hat from WandaVision, and I
Oh.
realized yesterday that it's too small for me.
Which hat is
Which hat?
Yeah. Which hat?
Darcy's gray hat from episode 5.
You mean?
Oh, I didn't get
Dr.
to that
Darcy
yet.
Lewis?
What?
Nothing.
Oh my god. We have to get to that point because I have feelings.
I have many, many feelings. I have many, many feelings, and I didn't say anything, Dom. Sorry.
No, I watched it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dr.
feelings
Darcy
in the most
Lewis.
recent episode are mostly thirsty feelings, but that's neither here nor there.
Although
So
Jimmy Woo is
introductions,
still
and then we can do
weirdo.
that.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
so we will do introductions, and we will do them starting now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Weekend Justice. It's the Weekend Justice podcast here on NeedCoffee.com. We are the #1 audio internet train wreck. We're here in the Hall of Weekend Justice, or at least the virtual version of it, because we are all anti-social distancing. Best to introduce the Weekend Justice League, going from my right to your left. We have Tuffley is with us. Hi, Tuffley.
You know, I always hate fighting my way out of hell. It's just hard.
Now we're circling back to the polls again. I don't know how that works. JJ is with us. Hi, JJ.
Hey, so the voice of Latveria, that is the name of the podcast I had earlier mentioned.
Ah,
So it's
Ooh.
Voice of Latveria, a podcast about Doctor Doom.
Nice.
Oh, fuck yes.
All right, Leah is with us.
Hi, everybody. I'm
Yes,
here,
yes,
and I'm
it's
not
a
a nana to anybody on this damn podcast.
she's here.
I'm
She's
not
awake.
here. And I'm awake, and in about 30 minutes, I won't be, but that's okay, because I'm going to go to bed before I fall asleep on the podcast. Shut up.
It's not even 7
It's
o'clock.
not a
Again.
dream. It's
Oh,
really
it'll
Lee
be
and
just
she's
like
here.
a convention.
Yeah, what?
Wake up, Lee. Go wake up, Lee.
It's not even 7 o'clock here, Lee.
Yeah,
wake
not
up.
there.
It's 7 o'clock somewhere.
It is. Kim is also with us. Hi, Kim.
Hello.
Hello. We also have the original Madman. Hi, Madman.
No, not higher. Not right now.
Get to know where
It's
it's
just a
stands.
hellscape. We're just in hellscape.
Not
Rox
hiring, no
Rathouse is here
autographs.
too. Hi, Rox.
Good evening. I'm Alistair Cook.
I'm Mike Lair.
We also have Rob here. Hi, Rob.
Hi.
You've joined me. You've joined me in my sitting room.
And Dom is with us as well. Hi, Dom.
It's almost 4 a.m. Let's go.
Where are we going?
I don't know.
Okay.
Anywhere but here.
We're
And,
going crazy, Wedge.
That's true. We're going insane. One of the
Yes.
best. What was it? The 70s or the 70s, right? I think that was from the 70s.
Oh, the kids show, the kids show
yes.
with the Smiths
kids
on
shows
it?
with
Where
the
are we
Smiths.
going?
Yes.
Yes.
Going
Oh, the
insane.
world won't listen.
Yes.
We have,
Released today. Released today in 1987.
Wow.
We have Johnson
Topical.
Geek is here too. John.
For fuck's sake, you're fantastic.
You are, and that Super Bowl win is all you, buddy.
It was all me. It had nothing to do with Brady.
It had absolutely not a damn thing to do with Tom
Not
Brady.
one damn thing.
I hate that guy.
So do I.
Everybody hates that guy except
Happy to
when
have
he
a, happy to have a second Super Bowl. Don't really like the guy.
Which?
So
which-
what were we
no
going to talk
spots
about
this
that
round.
needed feelings?
On my screen, at least.
Some small indie
Wand-
television
Wand-
program called
yeah.
WandaVision.
All right.
Yes.
So is
Now
everyone,
wait.
Is everyone caught up on it?
Yes, probably
Yes.
we need to know where our episode
Are
I'm
we
on-
caught up
I'm
on it?
epi-
Really,
I'm on
though?
episode 4, but that's okay.
Could you
We're
leave
good.
for a second, then? I mean,
I
Well,
mean,
well-
What episode are we on?
Fine.
Well, I mean, what
We
episode?
Yeah,
just are on episode 1.
Seven. We just had seven.
Okay, so 7's come out. Okay, I mean, I'm caught up. I just don't remember what episode we're
I
on.
don't care.
I stopped counting. It's not fair.
How many are there going to be? Are there going to be 10 or 8?
9.
Right.
So, two
So,
more.
so neither of those numbers.
Neither of those numbers. All right.
It's around the
And-
number you were thinking.
10 would have made a lot of sense. But Dom, yes, it's Dr. Darcy Lewis. She now has a doctorate in Kim. You're going to remember that better than I do, but she now has a doctorate.
Yeah, I do know. I think we were miscommunicating.
Oh,
earlier.
okay. Sorry.
Sorry.
I was very
On this
excited for
podcast,
that.
never. The devil, you say.
I
You're
know,
dealing with a fucking international cult of weirdos.
It's very true.
I mean, us
that
or
was
one
bad.
guy.
Is that
Well,
like the
Kim,
International
I have
Hall
so
of
many
Pancakes?
feelings. Yes.
Yes. I might have shrieked and frightened the cat.
I think I shrieked and
Yeah,
frightened
but
my
what about
husband.
WandaVision?
So,
Exactly.
Oh.
there you go.
What about Sparky?
Oh, too soon.
Mm,
Can I,
Oh,
can I just say,
oh!
mm.
can I just say, and I sent some of these to Kim today, that if you've not gone on Twitter to see the Sparky reactions, they are amazing. From
Yes, they
from
are.
the Justice for Sparky hashtag to
I'm
someone's created
I'm
an
gonna have-
Agnes Twitter account who's and they're basically posting stuff like, "Oh, killing Sparky is only the tip of the iceberg. I also wrote Game of Thrones season 8."
And Atlas Shrugged.
Well,
Whoa.
Sorry.
boy, you have just made sure we lost a lot of listeners from the libertarian group.
If,
right now.
if they were
People are
still here
listening.
through the
Good.
first hour of the show.
I mean,
People listen to us?
I mean, welcome.
I found my costume for the next podcast.
A costume for the
Because
podcast. What are you going to be?
Not podcast.
Agnes?
My costume for Agnes with the big hair and holding the rabbit. Because I can get that big frizzy hair.
Oh, well,
No problem.
you mean 80s Agnes or Modern Family Agnes?
I guess it was Modern Family, but I wouldn't also mind doing the I'm not gonna wear any leg warmers. I would also not mind doing
You
like
know you
the
have
50s.
them.
No, actually, I don't.
You know
I'll
you
wear
want
the
to.
leg warmers.
What I
Well,
want
John,
is
we can make you dress as Agnes too.
I'm looking forward
It's just a
to
Tuesday.
people cosplaying bad Halloween versions of all the MCU characters
Yes.
inspired
Yes.
by the Vision and Scarlet Witch
Oh
costumes.
my God,
Yes.
those were awesome.
And they must all, and for our listeners out here, take note. They must all have matching chucks.
yes.
All of them.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's an important part.
Because Vision in the chucks was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Paul Bettany is so good. I'm glad that they're finally giving him some really interesting work to do because he's such
Yes.
a great actor. He's good at being dramatic. He's also really funny.
Just watch A Knight's
Yes,
Tale
he is.
and you'll be
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
convinced.
Well,
Also,
that's the
there's
first place I
Amazon.
ever
What
saw
is it,
him.
Uncle Paul?
What was that?
There's a Uncle
Lee, what was
Frank.
that?
Sorry, there's an Amazon movie where he's Uncle
Oh,
Oh, I
Frank.
haven't
yeah.
watched that yet. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
No, I will always remember seeing Paul Bettany for the first time, which was in Knight's Tale, and his first appearance in that movie is
Walking
walking down the road butt naked.
Naked. Yep.
I
Frontal
was just
or
like-
just butt?
No, but
But
that movie was only rated like PG-13.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was from a distance.
Lee's
but
not.
you could just tell he was-
Lee's not interested if it's not frontal. Forget it. Don't even.
If it's not male frontal, not anymore. I don't want to hear
And
about
on
it.
this episode, full frontal nudity.
well, there are a few of Ewan
Lee.
McGregor's films that actually give you the front angle, but
So did
What is that?
Future Man on Hulu.
What is
Future
the
Man.
show
Future
from the
Man gave it to you
UK where
lots
they-
of times.
Yeah.
That's a full frontal. Yeah.
Lee, there's
We'll
a
be
dating
giving
show.
Future.
There's a dating show in the UK where basically they
No.
put guys behind a screen
Mm.
and then they lift it up and show you their,
Yes.
you know,
wow,
bait and tackle,
really?
and then you choose who you're going to date based on that. And I forget what the hell it's called, but
Stupid
there's your male
idea was
frontal.
the concept title, I think.
Stupid idea.
I was going to go for the joke
Really
and say
not
television,
great
but no.
criteria.
I don't
Do you
know.
get-
I
I mean,
might,
at what-
I might watch for for our podcast.
I love how you guys
Just
just
right.
tried to
Just
disguise
research.
Pornhub as an actual European dating show. You're real funny. It's just you just
Well-
toggled your glory hole.
Isn't that my understanding of
I
says
believe
I
someone
don't never
reposted
been
a
on
video
Tinder.
recently about that.
I mean, isn't that what
Hey,
Tinder
I like
for?
Matthew
Just a
Broderick. What
picture
can
of
I
the
say?
junk?
I think that's a crime, Lee. If you do that without asking people, it now is.
We're in the U.S.
Oh.
We don't have a lot of crimes.
Oh,
There are a lot of things
no,
not
I don't know
counted
if you
as
can grab
crimes.
that for the soundboard, but that would be amazing. too.
Let me tell you something, John. Okay,
It's a
we
crime,
just move
Lee.
on them like a bit. We just walk up and just grab them right in the.
I've been to the U.S. You know.
yeah, well, no, we don't grab men by the bait and tackle.
No, because if there's a new
Well, have you been to Midtown Atlanta lately?
Well, now it depends.
Have you made a movie with Kevin Spacey?
Ooh.
Wow.
Not too
Wow.
soon. Very good.
Just gonna go there.
if there's one thing that American males will do, they just want to create new technologies to send their ding dongs somewhere.
That's a different house of cards.
TTP, time to penis.
Do you guys remember rate your dick pic? Was it rate my dick pic?
No, but I would be laughing.
No, Kim, please elaborate.
I have not been to this Dragon Con panel.
Toughly.
I do remember that website.
It's weird. It came over the Apple messaging app, and it was from Toughly all the time. I don't know.
No, she rated them based on how good the photography was, like the framing and the composition.
Oh wait, I do remember. Yes, I remember this now.
And also, she was very nice. She's like, really good framing, original composition, and it was like weirdly wholesome.
So
what it was
basically,
about.
she's like,
It
so
was just
basically-
like delightful.
basically, it's a photo blog about how to properly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, it is a photo blog on how to take better dick pics.
So,
But then I also think that, the other issue is Dick looks like a snake with a sweater, or Dick, however, still looks like a naked mole rat. Should have been the top of the line.
What if yours doesn't look like either of those things?
I think the internet has cracked the problem. It just needs better
I'm
lighting.
just asking for a friend.
I'm just going to get myself in trouble no matter how I
Really?
answer that
Now?
question.
Really?
Just going to
So
get
Oh, it's like you've been
the-
on this podcast before.
The official Weekend Justice,
healthcare provider.
the official Weekend Justice review of WandaVision is it's 1 degree of Kevin Bacon away from dick pics. Got it.
Yeah, we were talking about WandaVision, weren't we?
Yeah.
That's
how we
why
got the
the
dick pic.
entire internet is talking about WandaVision.
Clearly,
I want to see the conversation diagram of this. Really, I want to.
No,
you don't.
No, you don't. You don't. It's
I-
non-Euclidean.
I have an idea what the shape is
Yeah,
going
sure,
to
could
be like,
really
Widge.
draw one.
This is a Euclidean experiment. Just pay no attention to it.
Oh,
This
See,
is
what
this
happens
now
is
we're talking about
we cut
Kevin Spacey.
to. Yeah, we cut to basically the scene from Endgame where Tony Stark has got the Mobius strip and is trying to figure out time travel, and
Oh,
that's
it's a
what the
dick.
podcast looks like.
Yeah,
But it's a
basically
dick.
what
Yeah,
we
that's
do
absolutely
is
right. It's a dick that keeps going like
Yes,
this.
it's a dick. It's Dick Cavett.
It's-
Infinite
It
number
goes
of dicks.
Circle here, big up a loop, another circle here, back up around the loop.
Okay,
and
well,
circle
Infinite
here.
long.
These two things are the Mobius strip, and then we just put this in the
It's-
middle. Oh,
You know,
okay.
it's
Yeah,
our
so
grand.
what we have
clickbait
here
plan.
is we have this planet.
We
is-
mentioned-
is associated
we tell
with it. It
people
jumps
on
over
Twitter-
there.
Exactly, the
We
infinite
tell people
schlong.
on Twitter we're going to do mindless speculation about WandaVision, and then we just talk about dick pics for the entire 2 hours.
Well, because here's the deal. It moves
Oh,
right
it's-
into
it's
the
as
multiverse
good as-
of madness, right? Which is
Exactly.
what's
It's
supposed
true.
to fall out of all of this. And in within that, you get the Council of Dicks, which
Yes.
is like Dick
So-
Cavett, Dick
so-
Gregory, Richard Nixon.
and weirdly,
Dick
Wesley
York.
Snipes is still on it.
Dick Van Dyke,
Sergeant.
yeah.
Dick Van Patten.
So,
Yep.
so
Dickies,
physical
Brand.
together
Cabin
for our
Pressure where they were
podcast.
playing Brian's of Britain.
Yes.
Yes.
And strangely, Benedict Cumberbatch just keeps walking in going, Dormammu, I have dick pics.
I bring you fresh dick pics.
No more dick pics.
Oh,
no
that's
more.
the thing is that-
You stop this, or I will continue to show you dick pics.
Exactly.
That
That's
would
it.
actually
We're in a,
be pretty fucking awesome.
we're in a loop. We're teamed up with
Which
dick pics.
header? Which header should we put for the clickbaiting? Either we talk WandaVision or
We talk dick pics.
we talk dick pics.
And full
Dick
frontal
pics
male
is gonna
nudity.
get a lot of traffic.
On
I mean, I would go for Dormammu. I've come with the dick pic, but you know,
Yeah, that one is.
it's so
Pun
fun.
intended.
I think that's this episode's title.
I'm so
Yeah,
glad I
Dormammu
got
and
one
dick
today.
pics.
I
That's
couldn't
it.
believe it.
Welcome
can we
to
go back
the
to
new
Kevin
version
Spacey?
of
That's a
D&D.
Norwegian death metal band.
Wait, are we going back to Kevin Spacey? What?
I'm asking,
Is it
can we go
is
back
it Christmas
to Kevin
Eve again?
No one ever goes back to Kevin Spacey.
Well, usually that's
Wow.
because they're in high school.
You only go back
It's
to
like
Kevin
it's
Spacey
like going
one.
back to Cali. I don't think so.
Well, it actually goes back to Joss Whedon.
Good job, Rob. Good
Okay.
job. I appreciate
Thank you.
that reference.
Thank you.
Dom brought up Zack Snyder.
I
who is-
understood that reference.
I understood that. Right.
Who I might add, even though Zack Snyder is frustrating and irritating, he is not as frustrating as irritating as D. Snyder.
Point.
But we're not going to take that.
Okay.
Anymore.
Thank
Anymore.
Really, really hoping someone would.
From
Really
Dick Pics
good.
to Twisted Sister.
Really
Too
quality.
You're gonna burn in hell.
This is a quality show. I'm Alistair.
We
Okay,
didn't say what kind of quality now, did we?
All right,
Zack
Lee's got the floor until she
Zack
calls.
Snyder.
Oh, the fundamentals of
J.J.
caring. That's where I
Abrams-
saw him last time. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Wait, this way. You did that. Zack Snyder.
What you were doing
Do
there?
you all?
I was
J.J.
like,
Abrams. Joss Whedon.
These
So
are
there are
these are human dick pics.
And Jerry Mathers.
Thank you.
as the Beaver.
and Kevin Spacey as a
They all
the
spread
gay
it on
one
an
in that
island.
group.
What's the point?
Okay, when is it gonna come? All right, so we've gotten now Joss Whedon and
That being
Kevin.
said,
Plus, we'll
Netflix is-
eventually get
It's
back
on.
to WandaVision. It's fine. Keep going.
We will. Hold
Sorry.
on a second. But
Tell us
when
how we're
is
doing
it
in the
gonna come
combat.
around? When is it gonna come around for J.J. Abrams? And that was really scary. J.J. Abrams and Zack Snyder, because they're word being they're as bad as most.
Doesn't
I don't
that
know.
involve,
Correct.
wait, but doesn't that involve J.J. Abrams actually finishing something to the point where people can actually complain about how he finished it?
Again, I cannot answer that without getting into trouble and being on the soundboard again.
Is the
He
status of
figured
that?
out my plan.
Lee, I'm
But-
just waiting for you to take the little cords out and plug them into the other cords, like you're working on the switchboard. I'm waiting for that.
one ringy dingy.
Yeah.
One ringy dingy.
Wow.
Is this the
Oh,
party to
wow.
whom I'm speaking?
Yes. Thank you.
Dom, you had a
that
question.
hurts.
Kids, you have to
I'm
remember
damn
back in
mom
the day
of this
before
podcast.
Wi-Fi and cell phones.
I was
there
just
were
wondering
regular phones that
if-
required.
if Snyder and Abrams, if everything surrounding them is just rumors. Why should we talk about it? You know, with
There has-
Whedon and other people, we have substantial things to talk
There
about.
have been substantial things about both
Okay.
of them, but there were NDAs signed that have not been broken.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
I'm not neither doubting anything. I
mean, you're
yeah.
right that until somebody goes on the record, which Joss Whedon's ex-wife did, you're
Well,
right.
she did that a long time ago though too.
Right.
So.
It was
Right.
really when Charisma Carpenter.
It's been
and-
Charisma Carpenter now. Yeah.
And then I feel like to, in some extent the nail in the coffin there it was Michelle Trachtenberg because of
Yep.
how young she was, and
Mhm.
when
Yeah.
Trachtenberg says that he wasn't allowed to be alone in the same room with her.
I did not hear that one. I saw
Yes.
the other
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that was a rule on
Very
set.
inappropriate, which is
The rule on set, and it's the wording here that gets you, is that the rule on set was Joss is not allowed to be in the same room or alone with Michelle again.
Again.
yeah, that's bad.
She refused to say what it was. More power to her. She has allowed her privacy,
It
but
allowed her privacy.
Yep.
Yep.
considering how, she was just off Harriet the Spy at that time.
And wasn't she like when she started like 13, 16?
I mean, that's
15.
Young,
Yeah,
very young. Very young.
that's a career ender in my book.
Oh,
You know, there are a million ways to be an asshole, but you don't need to be an asshole towards somebody. So yeah, really, no matter how you do it.
No, exactly.
You know, I remember when so I started doing theater and stuff when I was I think I asked to go on my first audition when I was like 3, and so I've been doing stage forever. And so I was out of high school, and geez, I was probably in my like late 20s before I worked with a director who didn't yell. And such a fucking life changer for me is that to actually work with someone who could keep their shit together until the very end. I just thought that was something that directors did, that like towards the end of rehearsal schedule, that they would just try to like tear you down and make you feel like shit. So, you know, and this is going off of what Dom just said, is the fact that, you know, just this idea that that you could treat people with respect the entire way through, like, changed the like course of my adult career. I mean, we were when we formed a theater company here in Portland, the only rule we had is life's too short to work with assholes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, you know,
That's a real.
you know, one strike
what is
and
it?
dead.
Olivia Wilde, isn't that how Shia LaBeouf got kicked off of her film?
Yeah.
Is because
Oh,
that's
yes.
her rule?
Oh, yes. That's her rule.
I think
Yes,
that's
and
great.
I was like, oh, for you.
I watched a movie that he was in like 2 days ago, and I've been waiting to watch it because I wanted to see it, but sure enough, his presence in it just made me uncomfortable the whole time.
Which movie was that?
Peanut Butter Falcon.
I watched it. Yeah. I watched it. I actually watched it in the theater. It wasn't as good as everyone made it out to be.
I really didn't like the ending.
Yeah.
The ending for me was like, okay, we've hit page 285. We're done. Bye.
Yeah.
I found it interesting that Gal Gadot, what she said about Jasween, where she said, well, we had an experience and I took it to the higher ups and it ended.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Wow.
whoa, that's a power move.
Holy
Because
shit.
that sounded
Okay.
like I could have kicked his ass, but I didn't.
Well, I think
Yeah.
what it was
He was-
that they had just gotten Brett Ratner off producer credit for Wonder Woman, because her and Patty Jenkins had teamed up and said, we're not signing up to do the sequel unless this guy is off the project.
Yeah.
And that was part of their deal, and they weren't coming back for the sequel unless he was gone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, can I just
Well, you know,
say,
he had a great Wonder Woman script.
how dumb do you have to be to try to mess with someone who, I think this is correct, right? She was Israeli Special Forces? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
You just need to see how she carries herself to know that you don't mess with her. You
don't
don't
want
need
her.
to know
I know.
anything about her.
That's exactly right. You're
And
exactly
beyond
right.
that, let's face it, she was the only thing that's working about this entire franchise. She's not the one you want to piss off.
No.
No. No, she
there's
is
so many- I'm just saying,
Yeah.
even if you're not paying attention to, or the only way you're paying attention to how she's carrying herself is how she's carrying herself, you know, or some shit like that. It's like, she used to be Special Forces. She'll kick your ass 6 ways from Sunday. And I hope that's, like, if that's a bonus feature on the Blu-ray, then I will purchase that Blu-ray. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah. And she won't even break a sweat or a nail or anything else kicking your ass very easily. Yes. No, yeah. Awesome.
I am very excited, though, that Patty Jenkins is doing a Star Wars movie, though.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Especially one that centers around X-Wing pilots because, well, it's just a 13-year-old kid in me who played X-Wing until his thumb bled.
I had all these Rogue Squadron books when I was in high school.
Me too.
Yes.
The first
I had
4 or so,
lot
and
of
then
Star Wars tie-in novels in the
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah, we'll be talking a little more about that when I get the recommendation shortly.
In 3 hours.
I will say, going
Look,
back.
we all don't get the socialization we used to. We're all real chatty these days.
We are.
But circling back to the world before dick pics, I will say that one of the things.
There's never been a world before dick pics, JJ.
No world.
Cave
I mean, you know, back when they had to do daguerreotypes.
Oh, dick pic.
Woodcuts. Woodcuts.
Would you like to come up and see my cave painting of my song?
I mean, you know they exist. Come on.
Oh,
But-
of course there was. That's on the good place.
As soon as somebody found like a long rock. But one of the things
Oh,
that
my.
I think that Disney Plus has done that is absolutely brilliant is so when Netflix introduced the idea of putting everything out at once, that was revolutionary because you were like, you could watch the whole thing. But the thing is that it means that whatever is popular in the zeitgeist is like gone in a week. And Netflix, Disney Plus has done a great job of counteracting that with doing The Mandalorian and WandaVision as must-see television, although I wish it wasn't must-spoiler television. And so it's been really fun to watch WandaVision as people are. It keeps reminding me of there was this episode of the IT Crowd, another problematic person, but we'll forget about that for a moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of where Roy was trying to watch a movie that he really wanted to watch that had a twist ending with his boss, and his boss was like just like every 2 seconds was naming a new possibility or what the twist was. And that's kind of how WandaVision is like another episode comes out and they're like, no, this is the bad guy. No, this is the bad guy. No, this is the bad guy. And it's been fun to watch. The fact that, even I have a couple of theories speaking of that bunny, I have a feeling that bunny's a bigger deal than we think.
Mike has a very good theory about Bunny.
I have theories.
Well, because that's the thing is, it reminds me of when I was watching the X-Files when I was like in high school and college, and during the breaks, you would just talk about what you thought it was going to be and what was going to happen.
Yes.
This was before we realized that nothing was really ever happening.
When you were young and impressionable and actually gave a shit about Chris Carter's myth arc.
But
in high school or college when you were watching
to
that.
go somewhere, how excited you would be. Like, I remember one time when I was in college, I went to a folk art festival like 4 hours out of town.
I'm sorry.
On the Sunday afternoon of the premiere. So I wouldn't accidentally get spoiled by the people who had the satellite feed and got to watch it like a couple hours early. Those were the days.
But
what bringing back?
To kind of theorize and watch and wonder what's going to happen. And I like the timing where you get it. You don't have to wait forever, but you have enough time to have fun playing Conspiracy Wall with it before you get another chunk.
I don't think we've had a water cooler television show since Lost.
Right. We haven't.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Well,
or one that
and the
wanted
thing,
to
too, is
make you destroy the water cooler since Lost.
Yeah.
Either
Well,
one.
and that's the thing about WandaVision. You kind of, to go along with the whole meta television nature of it, it kind of has to come out every week.
Right.
Because that's how that's how it happened. Yeah.
Well, they had to do that with like Handmaid's Tale on Hulu. So they did it earlier because, dear God, if you binge that show, you would kill
need
yourself.
some sort of psychological intervention.
There's no way you should binge Handmaid's Tale.
That's why I
at
never
all.
finished Breaking Bad. I hit a point in Breaking Bad where I'm like, this show's great, but I can't watch the last season because I just want to slice my wrists open.
Well, there's something where you're like, I can acknowledge the quality of this and also acknowledge it is a bad idea for me to consume it right now.
Yeah, right.
I think the other thing is a couple of shows have tried this, and I mean, unlike Legion and a couple of other shows, people are actually watching this, so you're not the only person making up theories about it.
Yes.
We had a very small, intense, tiny circle of speculation about Legion season 1. Like, I found like a 4-page analysis I had written about the color symbolism in the first season that I still think holds up.
Yes, it does.
I didn't know anybody else to talk to about it at the time because nobody was really
because we got tired of talking about it. What does
this
this color
we
mean?
kind of hashed out all our ideas.
I think it also depends on how you write this, and WandaVision is clearly written so that you have time in between. And if you look at a show like Stranger Things, which probably has lesser quality of writing, but you don't realize it because you watch it all in one go usually.
Yep.
And I enjoy it greatly. I enjoy it greatly, and I know that the last season was maybe not as good as the others, but I really, to me, that's a different kind of an event. I know it comes out this day. I watch it all in one go, and I've watched a very long movie, and it's fine with me.
Dom, it's just me, but I blame the last season of Stranger Things completely on Gwinnett Place, and so does everyone else.
And what?
Gwinnett Place is
On who?
cursed. We all know.
Gwinnett Place Mall, which is the actual mall, dead mall
The
they
mall
filmed
that
it
they
in.
filmed in is a couple miles away from where several of us live.
Yes.
And is it haunted, or do you just don't
Yes.
like it?
They found a dead body in the food court behind the taco.
They
Del
found a dead
Taco.
body that had been there for some time, and nobody had found it because
They were actually starting to make the mall. They were actually starting to clean up the mall for the Stranger Things shoot,
and
they found a dead body.
Yeah, what I
in
see a dead body.
like behind
in
the
like behind one of the closed food court places.
It was Del Taco.
Yeah.
Actually, that makes it feel more interesting to me, to be honest. Kind of weird.
Yeah, well.
It's one of those malls that's been almost dead for like 10 years, but enough of the anchor tenants are still holding on that it's still technically open.
It's like the Galleria in Sherman Oaks, where
it's
they filmed
like-
Fast Times.
Avon store and like a Foot Locker, and
But even the piercing place in Hot Topic have left.
yeah,
so-
even Hot Topic was left by this.
Yeah,
time.
Hot
Wow.
Top. Oh, wow.
When
That's so
Hot
good.
Topic leaves your
Look,
mall,
I remember
it's
when
free.
Hot Topic there used to be Gadzooks.
But that would be so meta to be able
they
to
still
find
have a GNC
Stranger
and a
Things
Foot
shit
Locker.
in Stranger Things Mall.
No, you cannot
That
in
is-
fact buy
yeah,
Stranger
that is
Things
weird.
shit in the Stranger Things mall.
You can buy Avon though from last year.
Oh wow.
I
think I went in there to get protein bars because it was like the closest GNC to us. But other than that, not so much.
Order offline. Don't ever go into the mall.
The other thing
But,
I think is going to be kind of interesting about about WandaVision, though, that they also have the freedom to write the episodes to their strengths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have 30 minutes of story. They have a 30 minutes. They have a 30-minute episode. But I've heard before
the
this-
runtime's gonna get longer or something?
well, I heard that the entire series was going to be about 6 hours worth of content, which means we have like an hour, maybe an hour plus for the last two episodes.
Yes,
yeah, I think that works
but
for me.
they changed the runtime for the last few.
Yeah. Well, I think part of that denotes
Right.
Aspect ratios.
Well, I think part of that denotes that, we're out of the sitcom format
and back
Mm-hmm.
to like the real world.
and back to like the real world, because also at the end of episode 7 there's a mid-credit scene.
Yeah.
Yep. I
And
also
there's the thing where it looks like the TV is turning off, and after
Yeah.
that, it's like
They also
because in the
say
fiction of the
Carlos
show
John.
there's no signal. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no signal.
And I think there's going to be a interesting point too in the fact that I think there's going to be I could be completely wrong here, but I think there's going to be a moment there where people have to decide whether they want their series to be complete series, because I don't think WandaVision is going to be a full ending. If it's going
No,
to
because it's leading up to like 3 other movies.
Yeah.
So it probably
It's
isn't.
supposed to be the springboard for Multiverse of Madness.
that is
Right, but I mean, it's not.
Well, it's
I was
supposed to be
just
the
going to say
springboard.
it needs to end well enough so that it
resolved
has its own ending.
somehow. Yeah.
I don't,
but
Because
it will still fit.
I think
Because
we
here's the thing, and we were talking about this, it needs to be the springboard to ultimately Doctor Strange, but we've still got
Also
Loki to get
Spider-Man
to.
3.
Also Spider-Man
Spider-Man
3 and Loki season 1 and
Which looks bananas.
Yes.
That
Oh
has
my god,
been.
I'm looking forward to that.
I
Soon.
thought I was going to love the other stuff. That trailer for Loki
So we were
is
talking about this.
absolutely bananas.
I can't wait to see the couples therapy between Bucky and Sam.
It was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
necessary. That was so necessary
were-
to put it in there because their characters were just defined by that one moment. Could you scoop a little bit over? Could
Yeah.
I get some room? No. That was the
Yeah.
whole
No.
dynamic.
Nope.
So we were talking about
Love
this,
it.
and Kim's like, Loki looks great, and WandaVision's been great, and I'm looking forward to Hawkeye. Man, I'm gonna be bummed if Falcon and Winter Soldier sucks.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is, I'm really encouraged because of all the things leading into actually before I watched WandaVision, it was the one I was least excited for.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really like I actually still low-key have a grudge against MCU Vision for killing Jarvis, because I love Jarvis really hard a lot. Like, I'm an AI robot person, and I really, really liked him. And I've always been mad that there wasn't more.
She likes robots.
Like, acknowledgement in the MCU that would have actually been a serious loss for Tony. Like, Jarvis was his friend, you know.
Yeah.
So I was mad that I was happy to get more Bettany, but upset about losing Jarvis for it.
Paul Bettany, I think, now is the longest tenured member of the MCU as well.
I know, he's been in this.
At this point.
So I was kind of and then I thought I didn't. At first I was like, what is even that name? That's so weird. And then the initial first couple things when you first started seeing more, I'm like, okay, well that might be interesting. Maybe that's going to be like Guardians and will surprise me with how much I like it. But the quality of what they're doing so far has me really excited for the ones that were things that I'm looking forward to more. For example, there's a lot of things in the What If that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Introducing Kamala, introducing She-Hulk. I was a big fan. Like, it seems like they're pulling a lot of stuff from the era of Marvel that was like where I was first seriously getting into comics and really, and so some of the runs that I really liked look like, at least visually, it looks like they're going to them for a lot of inspiration. So like Loki looks like it's drawing a lot out of the Loki Agent of Asgard book. Like that costume they have him in with the little headdress with the short horns is the Agent of Asgard costume, which I've always really liked. There was a lot of good stuff in Agent of Asgard. Like, I think Falcon Winter Soldier sounds cool, and they're obviously leaning hard on the Fraction visuals, at least, and characters for the Hawkeye series. And I will put that run of Hawkeye up against any other like big run for sheer quality, because it is so good. And I've been saying for years that they really needed to move that direction in the MCU, because Renner could play that version of Hawkeye so brilliantly, because where he really shines is in exactly that sort of everyday character beat. You know, like the fact that if you watch American Hustle, his character is about the only one in the whole movie that you care about at all. And you find yourself really caring about him and being mad that he gets, taken in for all the 60. Just really loved New Jersey. And who has ever loved New Jersey that much?
Nobody has.
But he did.
Bruce Springsteen.
And Kevin Smith, probably.
So this Fraction run, which is so grounded and down to earth and about basically, Hawkeye dealing with shit and trauma and trying to figure out what does it mean to be a normal person and run with superheroes, and do I even have any business doing this with my life? Like, it literally opens with him falling out a window, and it's framed very similarly to that famous shot from Avengers where he swings out of the window and crashes with the glass, except for this time he falls and he ends up in the hospital with multiple broken bones. And he's just kind of used to this because he's not got a healing factor. He's just a guy, And so I feel like Renner Renner has two modes. He's either here to have fun and get a paycheck, aka Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters.
Oh, why did you have to bring that one up? Oh,
Yes, she does a lot.
I enjoyed that film. Not
You
because
enjoyed
it?
it?
Film,
It was
it was a
actually fun,
terrible film
really.
that I still had fun
Lee,
watching.
Yeah, it's a romp.
Lee, there's a bath scene there there was a butt bath scene.
There was also a butt scene, but it was fun for the rest of the movie as well, because it was so ridiculously over the top that literally nobody was taking it seriously.
It's a bit like Van Helsing, if Van Helsing knew what it was.
For laughing
Yes.
at him.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Which, but
Look,
But
I have nothing that I should ever say about what people like. I like all the Sharknado movies,
exactly.
so
It's like sometimes you just want big, dumb, doofy fun, and that's what that
that's
was.
true. That's
But
true.
I really wanted to see some of his better acting work brought into the character, because I really like that character. I think he's interesting because for all of the people who have gotten retconned into having powers, he's never had powers. He works real hard at a skill and is really persistent and feels like it's worthwhile to do it, and that's why he does it. And that to me makes him a very connectable character that when handled well can be
that's why I've always liked Black Widow too.
Yeah.
Because in the first, it's like you see her getting her bell rung.
Yeah.
And she's like, and same way with him. They're the two. There are connectors.
Like they don't have superpowers. They think that they ought to be doing this, so they do
it. Right.
I mean, I always have a soft spot for what they call the badass normals in any kind of supernatural team. Because a lot of times they're really interesting because of the things you can do. And of course, there's also, I would really love it if the MCU actually stays with the Fraction line enough to actually bring Clint's deafness back in the MCU.
He's got hearing aids.
It's amazing for them to actually do that.
Wait, he has hearing aids in the new
in the Fraction
in the
run.
promo shot.
By the end, he is using hearing aids.
Yeah, there was a production shot that came out a while ago. It's Renner and Steinfeld walking down a street, and you can plainly see that Renner's got hearing aids in.
Oh my god, that will make me so happy because, like, people need that, and that that to me is such, and it really speaks to that character too, and the things he goes through and the things he does. And also, of course, Pizza Dog, because Pizza Dog.
Oh, we need Lucky. We need
best
Lucky
boy.
so much.
I'm just gonna. I don't know if anybody here. I know everybody here has read comics. I don't know if anybody was dived in quite this deep. But if the show does start with him, having to like bite a sonic arrow, and that's how he goes deaf, but then has to do an appearance on, say, the Fallon show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would be very happy.
Yeah, I remember that.
Actually, who is Letterman now? Letterman now is Corden.
Technically, he has a time slot. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think they're the same, but
Colbert has Late Show.
I never
Late
can
Show,
remember
and
the
then
difference
Corden
between
has Late Show.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. You are correct.
So the modern.
got Ferguson.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I don't know. I'm
Corden.
encouraged.
And Colbert would be perfect for it because he's
Such a fan, yeah.
he's a complete geek. Has the
He has
Captain America
shields. Yeah,
shield
he
up
has Captain
behind
America
it.
He has
shield. Yeah.
Cap Shield, yeah.
You would
Colbert once
enjoy the shit out of it.
made a Stephen
by the
King joke
way,
to Stephen King that
speaking of
Stephen
which-
King didn't get. I mean,
What?
He
what?
did.
What was this?
Colbert
was it?
once made a joke towards Stephen King that Stephen King didn't get because Stephen King
What was the
he
joke?
just received that medal from Obama, and
Mhm.
Colbert said, "Oh, it's pretty big. It's pretty solid. You could make a weapon out of it." And Stephen King didn't get the doctoral reference, and I had just read it a couple of weeks ago, so I didn't get it. But Stephen King was just, "Yeah, of course, whatever."
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And he obviously didn't get that deep cut
Yeah.
that Colbert was doing, and I appreciated it. It was nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Always good. Always good.
Okay, mindless speculation. What are we thinking? What are we thinking?
Okay, so
what are we thinking is
tell
going to
them your
happen?
theory about the bunny.
Oh yeah, I think because in the comics, one of the things Agatha's been trying to do is she's trying to get her son resurrected. So I think the bunny's Nicholas. So I think the bunny's Nicholas. So I think the bunny's her kid that she's trying to get Wanda to bring
So
back.
you think Agnes is really a witch?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is in the comics.
Okay.
There's a book from Doctor Strange's collection in the library, actually.
What, the Darkhold?
Cellar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
Darkhold.
think
Yeah.
it's the Darkhold in the cellar, but it hasn't been
Yeah, I think
identified
They
yet.
think that the book is
It's funny because I think the part of the Marvel continuity that you know the best affects your theories on this so much.
Yes.
Because Tuffley knows a lot about the X-Men backstory.
Yeah.
I don't know the X-Men very well. I know the Young Avengers really well because I'm really a big Young Avengers fan.
Oh, Pagan and Speed.
Yeah.
So
Wiccan and
my
Speed.
theory is that the influencing force behind it all is actually an alternate dimension and or time traveling Billy from the future. Because of two reasons. Well, a couple reasons. Like within text, the thing that Wanda doesn't control the twins seems to, and all of the stuff in the early episodes where everyone says things are for the children makes me think that the entire reason behind all of it is to get the twins into the dimension and in play. But in Young Avengers and the books about Billy since then, he is in multiple different timelines and dimensions an extremely powerful magic user, either really good or really bad, depending on the dimension. And there have been various plots about people trying to get control of him to eventually get control of his power. He ends up being the Sorcerer Supreme in one particular future. He ends up as a magical ruler of the world called the Demiurge in another one. But also because in the original Young Avengers run, the big plot there is that one of their members turns out to be a time-traveling younger version of Kang the Conqueror, who has tried to go back in time to prevent himself from becoming a supervillain.
Iron Lad.
Yeah,
we do
Iron
know that Kang is showing up in one of the films coming up.
It's
Ant-Man 3, yes.
Kang is going to be in play, but I feel like it would be MCU twistiness to take that idea and put it on one of the other Young Avengers to kind of fake people out. Like, oh, you thought it was going to be Kang, but no, now this time it's Billy time traveling back to do something. Either to try to make himself not evil or make himself to be evil instead of good or whatever. I think, I don't know if that's what they'll do, but my thoughts are going to, like, what do I know about Billy and Tommy and what happens with their powers and where they're associated with? Because Billy is actually associated a lot with Strange because of his power set and his magic stuff. But also I want Billy to be important because he's one of the few canon gay characters in Marvel who's a guy. And I really want to see Billy and Teddy on the MCU because we need that in our superheroes.
Yes, we do.
Superheroes. And also they're adorable and precious and their love is pure and I ship them forever.
But they're from Satan.
They are in fact from Satan.
Is that canon? I don't read these comics, so okay.
Well,
okay, so wacky theory.
Because they defeated Satan.
They're
So
from
wacky
Satan.
internet theory I kind of read just before we started this. Apparently apparently there's a theory that Al Pacino is going to show up as Mephisto.
That could work.
I think I think that's more wishful thinking than anything else.
Yeah, I think it's
Could
a little
work.
wacky, but apparently they're basing this on
Well-
Al Pacino has been talking to Marvel a lot over the last couple
I
of years.
will say
about
this.
doing something.
I will say this: the fact that they got Robert Redford
Right?
Yeah.
for is really impressive.
Yeah.
Like
and a
it's
great villain.
like his final role, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul
And,
Bettany.
That movie's so
Not
good.
dead yet,
I
Whit.
think that's one of the best in the
No,
entire run.
He basically retired
He said
afterwards.
that was
At least
it,
That's what he
yeah.
said.
Yeah, I know, but
I mean, you know,
They
I
They
don't
don't
know. I know.
really retire.
no, you don't.
Seriously,
Well-
isn't getting
well,
killed
he's
by the
in-
Black Widow about the best thing that can
He's in the
happen?
most successful movie of all time now. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the best movies, and now the most successful one for a while, probably. So
Mhm.
So he can
So
put
JJ,
big
you were
bag.
saying-
He can put more bags of money into the trust that helps Sundance. Sorry.
Exactly.
Tough,
So JJ, you were about to say something
well,
about
one
Paul
thing
Bettany.
well, it's just one that Paul Bettany let loose in an interview that
Yes.
that the quote unquote big reveal, the Luke Skywalker moment of this season hasn't happened yet. So that does add credence to the you said De Niro?
Pacino.
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 So that
Yeah,
does.
I came up with a list of people Paul Bettany hasn't worked with yet.
He has
so,
gone through and like cross-reference people Paul Bettany hasn't worked with that have been associated with Marvel and or are known to have traveled recently to Atlanta. Like he has this whole like.
Atlanta,
can I see your murder board, please?
exactly.
So wait, is this now
Kevin?
Kevin?
I have my own kook pot theory of who it might be.
Yeah,
Oh.
I was kind of
Oh,
kind of thinking. Go ahead.
Go ahead, tell me
it.
what you think.
So my thoughts are, and I've narrowed this down to, it might be Kate Blanchett because Kate Blanchett really wanted to come back, and Hela is down there and really wants to get out. So that would be a plausible reason for that.
And does have a connection with Loki, which we know is supposed to.
And does have a connection to Loki, which this is going to bounce into. And then I just thought, well, other people Paul Bettany hasn't worked with. We know Michael Douglas is somebody he hasn't worked with and is in Ant-Man and is an engineer, and therefore we still haven't met the engineer yet, and we're supposed to.
I've been waiting for that.
But also, he's not the only Pym that's an engineer, because Michelle Pfeiffer's character, because Janet in the films is also an engineer, so we might get Michelle Pfeiffer. And then the other thing was, I believe when Bettany first let this slip, a lot of people were speculating that it was either Ian McKellen or Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart said no.
And apparently Patrick Stewart said he hasn't been to Atlanta recently, but
it wasn't 100% filmed in Atlanta, so.
But Picard was filmed in California.
That's
they
true.
filmed the whole
So was
section
LA.
in California.
And Stewart did do, when he was doing his sonnets during lockdown,
Yeah.
he was gone for 2 weeks saying he was very excited about a project he could not contractually talk about.
I mean, Christopher Lee was in The Hobbit, but The Hobbit wasn't shot in England. So who cares?
Yeah, the other thing too is I've heard a ton of stuff about Mr. Fantastic. So
yeah, I got that too, but that's another different.
The Shaggy record?
I don't think that's if that
It
got
wasn't
revealed.
him.
If that got revealed, I don't think it would be the big reveal because
I don't think it's gonna be the big one either. But
you mentioned my personal feeling on who it's going to be, just because I'm looking at where the story goes. So I guess I am more with you in the. I think you got to tie the X-Men stuff in there, because I think that there has to be a reason. And
with Quicksilver,
Why
that
not
would make
James
sense.
McAvoy then?
Why that, Pietro?
Why not
If
James
you're making it
McAvoy?
up, why that one?
Because you don't bring that one in. I think that there could be with the little like finale and stuff. Obviously, there's more going on than we know, but with everything being controlled by magic and stuff. But you don't bring Evan Peters in if you don't use him. So I think it just.
I'd love to see I still love the idea of seeing Magneto, but
Ian McClellan or possibly Fassbender, but I think Ian McClellan's the one that makes the absolute most sense, especially since then
Grandpa.
that is someone that that Evan Peters hasn't worked with. So that's what makes the most sense to me to move forward the most.
See Magneto.
Well, the other thing is, and I think Wedge, I think I mentioned this to you, and I mentioned it to Kim, but like it dawned on me this morning. They set WandaVision 3 weeks after the resnapping.
Yep.
And Far From Home is actually set far beyond that. So actually, Marvel has inserted WandaVision in to occur before Far From Home.
Yep.
So if they
Just
are
won't
going
improve that
multi,
film, unfortunately.
yeah,
Which won't improve that film, unfortunately.
no, but
I love that movie.
but it does make
I know,
J.K.
I'm
Simmons' appearance in the
weird.
post credits.
Oh,
that
yeah.
lends credence to the multiverse theory and that Pietro is real.
Wait, hold on.
Which is
Wait,
which
wait.
That's smart. That's smart.
Time. I did not understand that. Who's showing in the
Okay, so
post credit? I didn't know who it was. Okay.
There's a post credit from Far From Home. And
Yes.
So the post credits from Far From Home, where J. Jonah Jameson basically has his InfoWars show and outs Peter.
Outs Peter. Yes.
That is J.K. Simmons, who played the character in the Raimi films.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. The Sam Raimi Spider-Man film.
And we have no inverse theory or answers to is it just the same actor or is it the character from another? We don't have
And
an
everybody
answer.
was like, what's up with that? And then, post Far From Home, obviously in the run-up to Doctor Strange, they've replaced the director of Doctor Strange with Sam Raimi.
Yep.
Oh.
Well,
who
part
is
of the
having a
thing,
hand
too,
in
is
writing
that-
that movie. So,
if this was the J. Jonah Jameson from the Raimi-verse, it would be, first of all, why is he here with an InfoWars show when he runs the Daily Bugle as the news?
Well, we only see him on the screen. We don't know if he just has that.
We don't
He
know if
might
the Beatles
have
are fake.
an entire empire.
I mean, I would guess it was
It's the same actor.
It was
That's
a
all it
wink
is.
So
to-
far, yes.
My thought at the time was that it was a wink to the extremely good Marvel Spider-Man video game where J. Jonah Jameson had a podcast.
Yeah.
Which,
But-
by the way, if y'all haven't played that, you really need to.
But we also don't know how much when worlds collide,
Right.
they enter. We don't know how much is because we know that Pietro has, or rather Peter has Pietro's memories. So we don't know if that's magic or we don't.
Just talking Spider-Man now. Don't we have rumors that we have a bunch of old Raimi-verse and the other
Yes.
the Garfield
Okay,
movies
so-
in there?
Right?
Right. So the confirmed casting is
Yeah.
that Jamie Foxx from Amazing 2 is
Mhm.
playing Electro
Yes.
in Spidey 3.
Mhm.
We also
Mhm.
have confirmed that Melina from the Raimi Spider-Man 2
So that is confirmed.
Will be Doc
yes,
Ock.
it's confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
So-
Doc Ock.
This means at least a Spider-Verse, if not a
And
multiverse.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
And Willem Dafoe. Yeah.
I mean, they could just Dawn Summers the whole thing.
They could Dawn
and
Summers the
pretend
whole
like
thing.
they've always been there.
But also Cumberbatch
Sure.
is Strange is also in Spidey 3.
Yeah.
But they have all the rights, they have all the opportunities. Why wouldn't they at least have one
Yeah.
great scene where they fly through different universes and just show them off? I mean, that's
Yeah, I
the
mean,
least.
Well, because one of the funnest things about
That-
Marvel is all the different Earths.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they've always had a lot of fun, even in stories that don't involve the multiverse substantially, in inserting little peeks into the
Yeah.
multiverse, or just like, Reed Richards will be in a story just to say, hey, well, here's how they dealt with it on Earth 5732. But
We're
that
getting
won't work
into
for
that
us because we're not all rhinoceros people. So that's not going to help.
And I think
Well,
JJ
like I
has a
said,
point
we
because they haven't really been Marvel really hasn't done the stunt casting thing, so they're not doing the clever, oh, we know the audience knows this. Up until, why would they use Evan Peters if they're not going to go there?
Yeah.
Just he might be a red herring, but I don't think
Maybe.
he is.
Yeah,
I feel like he's there for a reason. It may not be. I mean, I feel like one of the things, and I call this we've had in WandaVision the Bucky is the Winter Soldier reveal. I still don't
Yes.
think we had the Shield is Hydra reveal yet. I think that's still
Right.
coming.
We haven't.
I guess it will probably happen in the next episode, and then the last episode will be just the everything winding up and getting resolved. But
Dealing with everyone's
Wait,
feelings
hold
except
on.
for Wanda.
Okay, I am trying to follow all of these different lines.
This all makes sense.
I'm so glad
Wait,
for you.
hang on.
What
No, hang on. Wait.
it's a metaphor. Like in Winter Soldier, everybody talked before the movie came out a lot about how are they trying to make us think it's a twist that the Winter Soldier is Bucky. We all know that it's Sebastian Stan. We all know from the comics, but that was a deflection from what the real twist in that movie
misdirection.
was.
Oh,
which was that
okay.
Hydra was within Shield. So
I am
I
now
feel like in
following.
WandaVision, we've seen the Bucky twist, but I don't think we've seen the Shield twist yet. I think there's another big thing that will change what we think we know in one of the next two episodes. I just
Yes,
think
it'll
that
be
we
Chubby Checker
haven't
the
seen what their big.
Well,
what their
I
big-
mean, it has to be something about sword.
Well, but here's the
Not-
thing
well,
too is
Oh,
that
Mike has another thought about
knowing
Sword.
that
Oh, yeah.
well 1 second, knowing that they were able to keep, and I don't know how, that they were able to keep Evan Peters a secret,
Yeah.
and he has so far been in 3 episodes, one in which he was walking around outside.
Right.
That was my thing. It's like, okay, well maybe they shot all this inside. No, the Halloween stuff, he's walking around on a back lot, and
Right.
But
yeah, I'm
they
like,
did.
how
They
the
didn't
hell
keep
did
it
you
a
guys keep
secret
that
though.
secret?
I heard about it 2 weeks before it happened.
And this goes back
Okay,
to what
well,
JJ was talking about in
I
the
did
interview.
not, so
This is what JJ was talking about with the interview with Bettany, because I think it's an Esquire thing where they were talking about all of the people guessing stuff and all of the theories, and they were trying to get him to bait him into slipping something, which he kind of
course.
did. But, yeah. But and they had done this with I think Tierney Paris when they interviewed her. They were all talking about things that people had guessed, and they were like, "Well, everybody guessed that Evan Peters was going to be in it." Because I think when WandaVision, or I think I had made a joke, it might have been on this show at one point where I said because we don't have Wonder Man, so Wanda has to resurrect somebody. And I was like, well, if Wanda resurrects Quicksilver, it'll be Evan Peters.
Yeah.
I remember me making that
That's
joke.
not a resurrection, though.
Well,
Yeah.
right, but
That's not actually a
but that's-
resurrection.
When
Yeah,
they bring
I
him
got
back, it's Evan Peters and not the other guy.
But they would have gotten. They still would have gotten the Winter Soldier reveal, as it was put earlier, if it would have been Aaron Johnson.
Yeah.
So I just that's why I think if they do a bait and switch on Evan Peters, I mean I'll be fine with it, whatever. But I think it's a waste. It's a waste of Evan
And I
Peters.
think the point on hammering that home is when they used Aaron Johnson in the Previously
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
instead of
Absolutely.
and there are other points in the show that have used different angles of the Previously or things we actually didn't see in the episode in the Previously,
Right.
which has been really interesting.
Yeah, comparing the previously to the actual shots is sometimes really interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. Or,
By the
or
way,
how
did anybody catch that they actually made a kick-ass reference to
Yes.
the episode?
Oh, yeah.
you put up that
in the
was just
Halloween
so lovely.
episode, yeah.
So goddamn about that. Also, I appreciated the fact that it was like, what happened to your accent? And he's like, what happened to yours?
Your accent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it
So-
came back. That was good.
So about
Sword.
Sword
Stepped out.
and what Hayward's got up his sleeve.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I think we're getting Sentinels.
Really?
I think we're getting Sentinels.
I think
Based
we might
off
go
of
directly to
Vision.
Nimrod.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yes.
That would be
Ooh,
bad.
we went
I
from
think we're getting
Vision to
Sentinels.
Repeated references to
Amazing.
sentient weapons
Yep.
when they're introducing Sword and the conversation about, well, we're doing AI now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I think we're getting Sentinels.
That's part of why my
very bad.
personal belief is that the ending of this the ending of the series is we're going to get some resolution as to whether or not Vision is going to be alive going
Yes.
forward. But I really feel the ending of this is pretty much going to be big grabbing Baby Yoda and running. You know, I think that it's going to be something where it's like, okay, well, there's this big exciting thing that's going to happen. Next movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's similar to any kind of season finale where they'll tie up some threads and make you at least feel satisfied, but it's also going to be
Yeah.
leading to next season. But in this case, next season is a film.
Yeah.
Is Peter Dinklage the only actor who has been in the X-Men universe and the MCU?
I don't think
No,
so.
Dinklage was in Infinity War.
Yeah, but that's what
Yeah,
he's
I
saying.
mean, is he who wasn't?
Well, then
both
he
the
was
only
also
one
in
that's
Days of
been on
Future
both.
Past.
Yeah,
He was in Days of Future Past. He was Trask in Days of Future Past.
I know.
Yeah.
Right,
But-
No,
what
that's
I'm
what
saying.
he's saying is, has
Yeah.
there another actor that's done both?
Yeah.
None of the X-Men have, I don't believe. Which means, quite
Well,
frankly, if you're going to do a big reveal, sure, for an actor's point of view and for like a Paul Bettany's point of view, I can understand why McClellan would be the big reveal. But I mean, really, if you wanted to drop Jaws, you'd try to get Jackman.
No,
Yeah.
and I think that
I have a theory about that. I think
of course you do.
Oh, what?
course I do.
Hold on. Let me pick up my jaw from the ground. Oh,
yeah. So
This is the way our house is all the time because
yeah.
we're both this way.
So Deadpool. There's a Deadpool that's going to happen.
Yep.
And
Rated
Marvel
R.
likes- Marvel likes to have their old men blanks, right? So I think, and they've been apparently there's a rumor that they've been talking to Chris Evans about coming back for something.
Fantastic Four, of course.
I suspect
Hopefully not.
is it
the
dick
thing
pics?
that I would like to happen would be for there to be Old Man Cap and Old Man Logan in the Deadpool movie as Waldorf.
The Waldorf and Astoria of the MCU. It would be perfect.
Statler, not Astoria.
Yeah.
Waldorf Astoria is a hotel.
Look, it's almost 11 o'clock, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, except
Not a lot of
for Dom, it's like
It's
7 p.m. 3 days from now.
For him.
But
And
I
he still
love
has
that.
left.
I love the idea,
I've said
especially
five.
especially after like Knives Out and seeing how much fun Chris Evans had, like uncontrollably swearing.
Oh,
That I
he
love
had
the
so much
idea
fun.
of him and Jackman like just uncontrollably just swearing and taking the piss out of everything, including their own characters. Also, because it plays into the Ryan Reynolds has been egging Jackman on to be in something. So
As long as they manage to put Colossus in the movie again, I'm
Exactly.
good.
Kim,
It's not a
Knives
full
Out.
movie
Oh,
without Colossus.
sorry, Kim, Knives
Yeah.
Out. Good boy sweater.
I love it.
We love the good boy sweater.
It's a good
Okay, so as Kim
we got?
said, it's 11 o'clock. I got to go to bed.
All right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I have
Lee, wake
three
up.
quick recommendations.
Do
Aaron
it.
Fever goes fuck yourself. Ulysses, Flora and Ulysses.
Oh,
Just
I'll eat
because-
a donut. I don't care.
that's fine too.
Meanwhile, in Ireland,
On Disney Plus, Flora and Ulysses is again one of those super fun movies. Kim, you would like Ulysses because I really hope he gets to meet up with Tippy Toe. Because you know it seems to be MCU, kinda maybe. I don't know, but that would be really good. Then I actually have Music Rex too,
Ooh.
which is
Oh boy.
and probably at some point you guys have done this before, but I've been listening to the albums
There's this
of
band
Black
called Van
Violin.
Halen.
I'm sorry,
Jump.
Lee, what was that?
I've been listening to Black Violin,
Okay.
and
Oh,
really
yes.
enjoying them. They are. It is free on Amazon Music. Not to plug anybody. We have a
Other
link.
music sources
Yeah.
are
Right. And other yes. And then also this one is on Spotify, which I don't think we've gotten money from. But Miko Marks Radio. Miko Marks is one of the few black women in country music who has made a very significant impact. And the Miko Marks, just overall, you should be listening to. But the Miko Marks Radio on Spotify has all these other great artists, black women, country artists, white
She should
women.
do an album with Morgan Wallen.
Yes, that would be awesome. Morgan Wallen.
No.
After
Oh,
counseling.
did you really say it now? I meant he's on her damn radio. Why? I don't know the story. I'll go look it up on the internet later.
Let's
I'm not going to talk about that.
I'm gonna mute.
I'm going to go and look that up, and I'm sure I'm very upset with you, everybody. But it's really great, and I've been loving it a lot. And one of the biggest reasons I love it a lot is that on that radio station, there is a song, and I want to make sure I get it exactly right. It is Give Me Weed Instead of Roses by Ashley Monroe. And it really says a lot about today, and it's a wonderful thing that it says about today.
sounds like a modern classic.
It is. It should be. And then there's also the You Can Have Him, Jolene, by another trio. So
Lee, that sounds like a future Christmas #1.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, you should couple that with Wine, Beer, and Whiskey by Little Big Town, and you've got a great playlist.
Probably not. Okay. Good night.
Good
Bye. Everybody. Even through the little screen. Bye.
I'm
There.
going as well.
All right.
So
What do you
I've
recommend?
got. So I've been doing this thing.
Oh,
I
God.
miss estate sales.
Mm.
So I go to the bin store.
Isn't
the
that
Goodwill
eBay?
bin store. No, the Goodwill bin store. So everything's a pound. You know, it's by the pound. And books
Yeah.
are 20 cents. I came across, this is great, A Dreadful Man, the story of Hollywood's most original cad, George Sanders.
Yeah.
He was the voice of Shere Khan. He was in Rebecca. He had a 40-year career. And in this book, there's letters. They reprint some of his letters that he wrote to Benita, I think it was his wife or something. So the back of it, he tried being everything but nice and managed being everything but dull. Of Hollywood's fabled British colony, which included Ronald Colman, David Niven, Vivian Leigh, and Laurence Olivier, as well as author Brian Ahern, Saunders was most colorful of a colorful set. Whether he was being deported from Chile for dueling, faking an illness to escape the lead in South Pacific, spending millions to avoid paying thousands in taxes, marrying not one but two Gabor sisters, or finally committing suicide because I am bored.
I mean,
He was
honestly,
always
haven't we
quite-
all married both Gabor sisters?
I think
Have
so.
we?
I
Have
don't
we?
know. He was always quite proudly and perfectly a dreadful man. That's so great.
Awesome.
You
So,
smile.
so this is I didn't even know this book existed. I'm like, wait, there's George Sanders. So, this is as I'm doing all of this.
That is the most you thing you have.
It is. Oh my God, A Dreadful Man. So it was written in 79, and this is a paperback version of 1981. So that's a good one. I found this one author. She wrote this book called Eileen, but she also has a book called Tales for Another World, and her name is Otessa. I'm going to spell her name because I don't want to butcher it. Moshfeghh. And she really does quirky well. Like, your neighbor next door. And she adds these quirks to them and stuff. And it's really, really unique. So I don't know if she's been a New Yorker writer or something. I think she has been. But Eileen is one, and Tales for Another World or something like that. So that's what I've got. Show-wise, Rob, so have you seen the Joanna Lumley Going About Britain
Yes.
shows?
Yes.
So so catch those on YouTube. They're fun. Her first episode, they let her drive one of the replicas that Aston Martin's making of the James Bond.
Oh, the DB, was it the DB5?
DB8.
DB8, okay.
Yeah, so she's driving one. It's pretty cool. So apparently she's traveled everywhere. She, grew up in India. So she's like, I don't know this country. So that's what they're doing. W1A, Rob, have you seen that?
No, what is it?
Oh, okay, that's real. So Hugh Bonneville, after Downton Abbey, they have him on this little sitcom where he's working for the BBC.
Okay.
It's clever. And the thing is apparently they had to section off like an upper floor so that they're actually filming in the BBC.
Is this because I feel like, is this like the second series of the Olympics thing they did a couple of years back that Bonneville was in?
Yes.
2012. Yes.
It is. So,
Okay.
So he's got a job now as the quality control person.
Yeah.
So that's W1A. So that's a fun one. So that's what I've got for right.
Cool.
I'm done.
Cool.
Be safe.
Thank you. Bye.
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 All right, we should continue with recommendations because it is late and we're old.
And there's a
who
lot
wants
of
to go
us.
next?
I'll go.
Go, Tough Leg.
I've been playing a lot of Hades on the Switch specifically.
It's so good.
It's a really good game about trying to escape hell, which may or may not be in WandaVision's future. But it basically it's what they call a roguelike game, which basically means everything resets every time you try again, and you're going to die a lot. And what you have to do is learn how to, better manage your resources, better manage your attacks, better figure out the weapons that you're using to do all of the attacks as you go through different rooms and kill things.
But the thing I like about it that I think is really the key to a successful roguelike
Yeah.
is that death doesn't feel like a punishment.
No.
Because whenever you die, you go back to the underworld, and all of the characters will have different things to say, and you will have unlocked additional abilities or additional treasures or whatever. So basically, every time you die, you get a chance to go advance the story and level up.
Yeah.
So no run ever feels like it was a waste of your time.
It's in the same vein as playing the Soulsborne kind of games, except less harsh.
Yeah.
And you don't feel punished for doing something wrong.
Right.
In a weird way. It's a really fun game. I have not gotten anywhere close to trying to finish it yet, but it's really deep and fun, and you can suck a lot of time with it that you did not intend to use on trying to beat the one damn room. But it's a really fun game, and I've enjoyed it.
I'm stuck at the first boss in Hades. But I'll get it.
I've enjoyed it quite a bit.
There's a really good no-clip documentary series about the making of that game as well.
Yeah.
If you're interested, on the it's I guess it's on YouTube where you can watch it. And because they actually developed a lot of it last year, like they had to finish it after they all had to go into lockdown.
Yeah.
So it starts out as a fairly normal series, and then they're like, oh, and then we have to finish it in these situations. So it's a good watch even if you don't play the game, although watching the documentary made me want to play the game, and the game is extremely good and has done very well. So
a couple of rabbit holes that I will now mention in the music side of the house. I am not recommending anything new, Rob, so there you go. There is a reason I'm not recommending anything new right now, because I've been swamped by, and I need visual aids for this.
Oh dear.
Number one, the gigantic Bob
Oh,
Mould.
I was going to pick that. It's great.
The gigantic Bob Mould Distortion box set. It's really, really good. It's basically all of Bob Mould's solo material after basically all the post-Husker Du material. It includes as many people did in the late 90s, early 2000s, the odd and somewhat interesting but odd and weird attempts at trying to do techno records. And also a couple of the DJ albums he's done with various people, in addition to the Sugar back catalog, which includes a couple of live sets that have been out of print for a really, 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 really long time, and the recent albums up to Sunshine Rock, which is not the current album, but it's the previous record. So the current record is not included in the set, but it's 24 freaking CDs. It's pretty deep. Now, I believe as far as the CDs go, actually both with CD and vinyl, if you're ludicrous enough to want to get the vinyl, because those things are big. If this is huge, the vinyl set is massive. So they put together everything into the 24 sets, which is the full experience. And I think those were limited edition, and then they're breaking it up into patches for the smaller releases for CD and vinyl. So I think the smaller patches are going to be coming out over the next year, and the big bundles, that was everything, I think they put out in November, December, and I think most of those are sold out, but you can get them in the secondary places. But it's really great. It's called Distortion, and you will lose quite a few days with that. But I present the other rabbit hole I've been down is what's in this box.
Oh God.
Yes, this. And this I present to
Dick
the
pics?
court. Yes, dick pics. This I present to the court.
Yes.
Is
Ooh.
the full Mac Daddy Sign of the Times box set from Prince.
Nice.
I will tell you, I got the 3-disc set for Christmas, thinking to myself, it's going to be on Spotify. I don't need like all the demos and shit. You need all the demos and shit. Because it's like, I feel like Sign of the Times is like the last, and we talk about Imperial phases. and it feels like the last time that Prince was on a major and that he was able to get away with anything. And this thing was literally composed of 4 albums he scrapped. And most of that material is in this set. So it's, of the re-releases, it's the deepest thus far of the Prince re-releases. So you've got the deepest amount of stuff from the vault, and it's most of the Revolution stuff from the Dream Factory album that got scrapped, and a lot of the Camille stuff. And because the Camille stuff is a little weird because it's split between the actual Camille album idea and like the Black Album and like and Love Sexy. So it's kind of split up between those. So it's a weird chronology with those, but some of the Camille stuff is here. And then the aborted larger Crystal Ball thing that was supposed to, the original Crystal Ball thing, which was supposed to be the big 3 album thing that combined everything. And then the record company told them to scrap that and just come out with something that we can release soon. But most of that material is in this, which is really, really cool. And there is, so it's 6 discs of, so the original 2-disc album, and then 4 discs of the vault stuff, which is, like I said, the deepest of the re-releases. And then there's the live concert, that the full concert of what they shot. I don't know if you guys remember the film, The Sign of the Times, the concert film.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the audio of that full concert, not just the stuff they edited. But weirdly, the actual Sign of the Times concert film is not part of this set. Don't know why. Probably rights, I think. I think somebody else owns the rights to the Sign of the Times concert film. So what you get instead is looks like, for what appears to be a CCTV recording. It's not very good video quality, but it's worth it for the performance, not so much the quality. But they have so Prince, the last show of the Sign of the Times tour was something Prince did at Paisley Park. And it was a benefit show. And it's very notable because it's the only time that Miles Davis and Prince are on the same stage together.
Woohoo!
So it's really cool, kind of an artifact, which is nice to have. But if you have the means, and they've dropped the price on this, so you can go get it if you want, and you're not going to have to pay the $200 for it, get the 8-disc, because it's worth it. I didn't think it would be, but it is. So that's the 8-disc Sign of the Times box set. There's the 3-disc that's available, which is going to get you the original album remaster and like the singles and B-sides. So if you really, really want 4 versions of Shockadelica, there you go. Go get that one. But it's not going to be enough, and you're going to want the 8-disc. So get the 8-disc, and that is my recommendation.
Cool. Thanks.
And I love the fact, I love this box. I don't normally keep boxes these things come in, but this is freaking cool.
And apparently they all vary.
Talk you into buying the big one.
Yes.
He's like, I don't know. It's really indulgent. I'm like, get it. Buy it.
You will regret it. So.
And also, my wife is correct 99% of the time. My wife is absolutely correct.
I'm not sure if you heard that, but he said you're wrong 1% of the time.
Up to that.
You might want to have a talk with him.
You know, you can't spell happy life, happy wife without a little LIE in the middle.
So
Yes,
who's next?
That's horrible. Yeah, I'll go next.
I'm not married.
The marriage counselor. The marriage counselor is next.
There's going
We're
to be
beyond
so many
that now,
things
John.
that
We are beyond
when we
that
speak to the
now.
marriage counselor, we're just going to give him episodes of this show. That's what it is.
Exactly.
That's what we're going to do.
I'm like,
Exactly.
you see these two right here?
It's all about dick pics,
All right.
and the German guy doesn't shut up.
Yeah. So for me, I have a couple of shows this week. One came recommended from some friends over in my Dragon Con groups, and that's Netflix dropped Lupin.
Lupin.
Yeah, where in America we just call it Lupin, right? And that
It's in their Lupins.
it's Lupin. right?
I
Like
agree
you're
with you the
looping
whole way.
around
If you
something.
recommended, you like it, so I'll let you talk.
But
That's great.
yeah, so it stars Omar Sy, and for those of you playing at home, Omar Sy was Bishop in the 2014 X-Men movie. But we don't
Yeah,
really
he's
watch
fat.
those movies, but I knew I recognized him from somewhere, and I was like, oh wait, the guy that played Bishop. So there you have it.
I don't even remember Bishop being in one of the movies.
And there you
He's in the
go.
very beginning.
There you go,
Oh,
JJ.
is he one of the
That's what
people
I'm
who
talking.
gets like insta killed in Days of
He's
Future
one of the people that gets insta killed in the
Yes.
Sentinel thing. It's
Yes.
really the film.
It's a shame. He's such a great actor.
I can tell you
Spoilers.
that the guy who played Warpath covered a song that was written by a friend of mine, but I do not remember Bishop.
And back to recommendations. But anyway, so it's a series shot in Paris, and it's based on
This is
Marcine's
the
character.
adaptation of the anime?
No. This
No,
is
it's not.
based
Okay.
on
No,
the
it's
actual.
The mystery novels, right? The
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, the actual mystery novels in which he plays a character by the name of Hassan Diop, who he and his father immigrated at a fairly early age to France, and his father ends up being framed. But one of the things
okay.
his father imparts to him is a love of books, and in particularly the Lupin books. And so, using those books as kind of a guideline, he becomes essentially Batman. He turns himself
That's
into
fairly true, fairly accurate.
Less
he
violence,
turns
a lot
himself
less
into Lupin in order to grow up and to help clear his father's name. And it's actually a really, really solid series. Me and the wife watched it. We found ourselves just like taking a Friday night and binging through the episodes that were available. One of the things I will say is a downside is watch it in French here in America with the subtitles on.
Yeah.
It does change things quite a bit. I did watch it with the American dubs, and the
Is it
voices
like
just don't quite do it for me, but it's still very, very much watchable.
So it's not TBS Breakfast Club bad.
No, but
Okay.
it's really it's always really weird to know that's not the voice
Yes.
that you're hearing. And on certain things, it like for sometimes the voice they may use, it just doesn't quite seem to fit the people that are on screen, so to speak. And so, that was a little off, but the deal was the show enough was interesting enough that we were able to bypass that whole thing. I'm so used to stubs versus dubs, it doesn't even matter to me. Whereas Nicole, if the dub is bad enough, she's just like, I'm out, right? I won't watch subtitles, and this dub is horrible, and I hate the voice, and I won't watch it, right? I have another show that I watch. I want to say it's on Netflix from Turkey, called The Protector, and the dubbing on that is just complete and utter trash. So yeah, if you've got a little bit, sometime over the next couple of months, give Lupin a shot. It actually is it tracked very, very well. It left a better taste in my mouth than having to sit with her and watch Bridgerton. But I will move on from that. My other recommendation is a Canadian show that got dropped on Netflix for the past 2 seasons called Blown Away. And it's a reality show based on it's a glass blowing competition.
Right.
And typically I'm the person that sits there and I will watch most competitions on Food Network all day. And so Nicole actually picked this one. And I found myself very, very much intrigued. Some beautiful, beautiful work came out of it. Some tragedy came out of it. It's definitely different than a lot of reality shows where there's not a lot of extra drama that goes on, except for there have been a couple of personalities that I think definitely stood out in a more negative fashion, where they just couldn't take criticism. Other than that, the only other tragedies is like you hear glass breaking and you're like, okay, How are you going to recover from that? Do you have enough time to recover from that? But it's really just really neat sitting there watching these teams of people where one person is the focal point. Like they're all in this giant warehouse with all of these forges. And I'm like, I am deathly afraid where that piece of cloth is going to slip and it's just going to sear right through your hand. But they managed to draw up and bring to life some really, really beautiful work in a very short amount of time, given the themes that they're given to play with. And there's just some stuff, man, the gravity of it all, in the science of how they put certain things together was really, really beautiful and very, very interesting. And I found myself actually going, okay, let's continue to watch more of this. And I hope they get a third season.
That sounds super cool.
You know, because it's great to always just get something a little different outside of my normal wheelhouse.
It's interesting to watch the competition shows where people are making stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, especially things like in a cooking competition, you can't actually ever taste the food. But the ones where they're making something where you can actually see it and kind of judge for yourself, I've always kind of liked those more. So I can be like, you know, on Project Runaway, ISO, that dress is ugly. You know, like I can make a judgment on that more than I can, like, does their food taste good? And also, like, I've seen glassblowers like at Renaissance fairs and stuff like that, and I will always stop and watch for like 15 minutes because it's so cool. So getting to see like a really high level like competition in that sounds amazing.
Right. And here's the deal. I'm childish, right? I'm like you. I've seen glass blowing at the Renaissance Festival, and then I've seen glass blowing where people were making bongs and pipes. That's my extent of glass blowing knowledge, right? Occasionally, once a year, I will go to the botanical gardens and look at the Chihuly exhibit. So, that's the limited knowledge that I have of any of that. But I found it all really, really impressive, especially when, you've got 8 people and they're given the same theme and they're allowed to just express themselves to their fullest, but confined by, okay, you have to use glass. Now, how are you going to make this work?
And you've got X amount of time.
Right. And this isn't a thing, it's like, it's hot, right?
Yeah.
It's extremely hot. So there's that whole danger factor that goes along with it that just kind of blows my mind. So yes, those are my recommendations this week. Oh, well, I've got one more.
Cool.
So,
What you got?
I forgot. Thanks to the pandemic, I've actually bothered to. I have a new job, so because of that, I'm able to afford comics again. And so, in order to help keep my local comic shop open, I have been buying a few things. And one of the things I'll recommend is DC is running a very short run called Future State right now, where they kick off several years into the future. They're very limited, self-contained books. These aren't going to be ongoing monthlies. I think they're only going to be 3 or 4 books per actual series. And you can watch the stories and read the stories, and be done. And so I have found myself going through and once a week kind of buying, several of the titles out of DC's Future State, where you have a new Justice League, where they introduce a new Wonder Woman from the Amazon named Yara Flores. You get young Jonathan Kent has taken over his role for his father's Superman. You get what is her name? I forget Joe's last name, but Joe from Green Lantern Far Sector is the Green Lantern in this Future State. You get Aquaman's daughter, who is now the Aquaman character. And you get Jace. Jace Fox. Jace Fox, who is the Future State Batman in this book.
And Lucius' kid, right?
No.
Jace
is actually Lucius Fox's other son, who was introduced in the 70s. And so this time you actually, yay, just in time for Black History Month, you get an actual black Batman. They eventually ended up
Oh wow!
Oh, I've heard about this,
unmasking
yeah.
his mouth. But for the first parts of the Future State run, you know who the character is, but you do not have. He has a full cowl with his mouth covered.
Oh wow!
But they do a wonderful job of weaving in the rest of the Bat family, and along with that, and you get a wonderful confrontation showdown between he and Bruce, briefly this past couple of weeks. So
you said this is a limited kind of run sort of thing.
it is a very, very limited run that they're doing right now.
Okay.
It's almost like a palate cleanser, if you will.
Oh yeah, because they just came off death metal, right?
They've just come off death metal, and this was supposed to be their whole 5G initiative pushed by AT&T and what have you, and the stuff had already been done, and they were like, no, we're not going to do a reboot. We're just going to do this as a small standalone limited series right now, and then we'll get back to resetting the universe to business as usual. But you get a lot of cool new characters out of the whole thing, and it's, again, because it's such a short run, you don't have to be terribly invested, and there's not a whole lot for the audience and the consumers to actually bother to have to keep up with, and a lot of the stories have been actually really cool. I'm happy about that. So those are my recommendations for this week.
Woo!
Cool. Thanks, man. Who's next?
And now I'm going to bed because
Night,
I
man.
have to work in the morning.
Good night.
See you guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
See you, man. All right, who's next?
I guess I'll
Go,
go.
JJ.
I don't have a hell of a lot. I did pick up. They haven't arrived yet, but I picked up 2 Mondo sets that I'm pretty excited about. I picked up the soundtrack to "Would You Be My Neighbor?" Won't You Be My Neighbor? Excuse me. And I picked up the soundtrack to Solo: A Star Wars Story, which is an absolutely gorgeous set. That it's the vinyl is pressed in what they are calling warp speed blue. It's gorgeous, but I liked that soundtrack anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. I did pick up a couple of comics recently, like I mentioned. When I went, I didn't mean to pick up everything that was Portland based, but I did, which was kind of fun. So I picked up the trade of Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is a great series, but one of the things that's fun about it is also because Steve Lieber is a Portlander. It's signed and had a sketch of Jimmy Olsen in it, which is fun.
Nice. And that's Fraction.
Nice.
Yeah, it's Fraction and Lieber, so that's pretty cool. I also picked up the first 2 trades of Eisner winning Better Root by David F. Walker. And those are really fucking good. But the thing that I'm really excited about that I've been digging into, it's a dense read for me in a comic because it's something that I admit as a white person I know very, very little about, and that is the comic illustrated history of the Black Panther Party.
Ooh, nice.
And so fucking good. But it's also, like I said, illustrating something that I am just woefully unaware of because, I just am. It's not something that's taught in schools, and it's not something that we really know much about. So I've been enjoying digging into that and learning a lot more about something that I didn't know. So that's been great. The only other thing I guess I would throw in there is if anyone out there is a Motorhead fan, I did pick up the Speed remaster of Ace of Spades.
How is it?
So good. It made me very, very glad that when I bought the record player that I bought recently, that I went ahead and bought the expensive subwoofer.
Yes.
Instead of the cheap subwoofer, and that has made all of the difference. So I think that's all I got. But I have to admit, I don't really like the way there's a live show in there that I don't really like the way it's mixed. Even though what I just said, it's very bass heavy. So it sounds like you're listening to a shitty old tape, even though it's a gorgeous pressing of a record. But Ace of Spades
It's not a board recording for some reason.
Yeah.
They just didn't have access to that because is it 1980 is it the show?
Yeah, I guess it would be because that's when the album came out. And
Yeah. So for some reason it's not a board recording because for most of those they try to get board recordings for those.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it. It does sound like that. Yeah, it sounds like they had a reel to reel in the room. Basically. I didn't go for the $300 box set because although it did have some other stuff in it that would have been great, I didn't really need Poker Dice or a Motorhead comic book. It's just there was too much stuff in there. There was some demos and stuff in there that I would have liked, but I was able to let that go because the set that I got was a lot more affordable. But the mix on Ace of Spades, like I said, if you're a Motorhead fan at all, and for some reason, even though I am a huge Motorhead fan, that's an album I have never owned.
That's the one you skipped?
That's the one I skipped. I have lots of stuff that's later than that, but that particular one I just never got around to.
That's the perfect purchase for you.
Yeah, it was. Because even though I like the song, it's like, that's the one everybody gets. So I'll go for the deeper dives because I was that asshole for most of my life.
So what was like your point of entry? Because with me it was I saw them on the Young Ones episode, and that's the one I went to.
Yeah.
So what was your point of entry on that? I'm curious.
Well, although I have been a casual fan for a long time, when I became when I fully drank the Kool-Aid, would have been maybe. God, I guess we're looking back at about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It was. I think the album was Inferno.
Okay.
So it's weird. Way back in the day when Ken Plume was running a website for. No, it was before Ken. That's right. This was before Ken was working for Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith had a website that was run by former ADW publisher Chris Ryle. In fact, I was a part of that world when Chris Ryle first did his why can I not think of when you're trying to get a job? All I can think of is audition for ADW because he first wrote a adaptation of Shaun of the Dead. All of this fits back, believe it or not. So when he was running that movie Poop Shoot, he ran a contest to give away a free copy of the album Inferno. You were supposed to write what your favorite song was. I wrote I'm So Bad Baby I Don't Care because it does have the line I make love to a mountain lion in it, which is one of the greatest lyrics of all time. And so then I got that album, and so then I just remembered the band that I'd heard singles of, and that it was one of those things. It was kind of like when the Ramones existed your entire life, but you didn't really dive in right away.
Yeah.
And then you do, and you're like, oh Jesus Christ, why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah.
So
no, I hear you.
So yeah.
Nice. Well done.
All right. Cool. Thanks, JJ.
Thank you.
All right. You want to go next?
Sure, I'll go. What the hell?
Well, I said Dom, but
I didn't hear you because sometimes you're cutting in and out.
Go ahead, Dom.
Okay. First of all, let me just say that yes, you should all watch Lupin, and it doesn't matter how you pronounce it. It's really, really good. Give it a try. Watch at least 2 episodes, and if then you cannot cope with the French and their pretty pictures and their great actors, then don't do it. But I think it's a really, really well written and extremely well acted show. Another show that Netflix typically has canceled, even before I discovered it, was Teenage Bounty Hunters, which I skipped at first because I thought, well, that's a dumb title. Then I thought, well, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was also a very dumb title. And I loved that show to death until, well, recently. But the show is still pretty good, but, it's
It's
tainted.
still a lot of really good people that did a lot of really good work. He stepped away after
That's
season
my
3.
point. That's my point. I make to everybody. It was never a one-man show, and you should not let him take that away from you. So anyway, Teenage Bounty Hunters is a fun show. It's really well written. The 2 leads are incredibly good. Yeah? Excuse me?
Nothing. You took one of my recommendations. Never mind. Go on.
Oh, hey.
It wouldn't be an episode if somebody didn't take someone else's recommendation.
I had
Cross that off right now.
I had Lupin listed there, you know, in my mind.
I was talking about Teenage Bounty Hunters, but go on.
Rob, it wasn't
Hey,
us.
you know what? I will start with Teenage Bounty Hunters now, and you can continue because you probably know more about it than I do. I just watched it, and I really, really enjoyed it. Really well written. Then I'm still on the. I was just, for those who can see video, which I think is only the people on the show. I recently bought this, which is one of those very fancy editions of Neil Gaiman's Stardust.
Yeah.
Which is, not the most expensive one because I'm not that crazy, but
Right.
still too much money. But it's
Yes,
really
yes,
worth
but
it.
you know that someone is. That's
Of course, or somebody's just rich, you know.
Yes.
So I don't know if you can still get those, but God, they're so beautiful. And also, I don't know how I found this out. Probably because I'm on some sort of mail list or something. Have you ever heard of the website Fane? Fane? No, good.
I think I have, but
I think they're pretty new because all the dates on there are in the future. And of course, I was linked to this because Neil Gaiman is doing a night with Neil Gaiman on the 9th of April and also on the 29th of March. I don't know why they're listed in that order, but that's the way it is. Where you can get the new editions of 5 of his novels, or I would just say books because maybe they're not all novels. Who knows with him? And it's also a show. It's a live stream. I think I'm not sure if you can interact, if you can ask questions, but it is sort of the substitute of going to an evening with Neil Gaiman. You do it online. So I booked 2 tickets. It's not too pricey, especially if you get the deal with all the books, which I stupidly got, although I own all the books because I'm stupid.
it's okay.
Yeah, I know.
I'll probably be right behind you in line. Send me that link. Can you send me that?
Of course.
Did I mention I got 2 copies of Sign of the Times?
I'm soon gonna have 2 copies of Sign of the
I
Times.
see I'm among victims.
Exactly. You're among.
This is a peer group.
And there are a lot of other people that are also very interesting. There is somebody I recently discovered on there, which you probably all knew already, Fran Lebowitz, who's the star of the Pretend It's a City show on Netflix, which I really enjoyed because she's just one of those characters whom you enjoy. And I think everybody knows about that show and should watch it. Also, there's somebody on there who I have admired for the past year, which is the former Speaker of the House of the British Parliament, John Bercow, which is weird bringing politics in there. But just listening to him speak is quite interesting, entertaining, and you feel smarter afterwards. And I can recommend his book, especially the audiobook, which he reads himself. If you're interested in anything that happened in the Parliament, especially during the Brexit years, that's really your primer. Just read that book and you're done. The book is, of course, called Unspeakable by John Bercow, and is on Audible, of course, like all audiobooks are, which you can get on neatcoffee.com/Amazon, I guess. You can probably get Audible kickbacks, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Very good. Those are my recommendations. I probably forgot something, but Teenage Bounty Hunters will now be thoroughly recommended, I guess.
Cool.
Oh, my. All right. Thanks, Tom.
A pleasure.
All right. Who's next?
I can go, I guess. Doesn't matter.
Who cares?
Exactly, yeah. So I'll start with a different George Sanders that rocks. There's an author named George Sanders who does really great short stories an anthology of short stories. His new one is called A Swim in the Pond in the Rain, in which 4 Russians give a masterclass on writing, reading, and life. It's George Sanders basically, because he teaches Russian literature, but it's basically things he's learned from different Russian novelists and different teachers who taught them about the Russian novels, all in a book. It's a whole cool series of essays. And it's just really, it's personal, but it's not too heavy, which is also great. And then I want to recommend a book. It's coming out in March. And JJ knows a little bit about this, sort of the backstory of this is I'm trying to sort of, during the pandemic, fill in gaps and things I don't know. And I do not know a whole ton about, like, outside of some classic metal, just metal, right?
Yeah.
So there's a book coming out called Nothing But a Good Time, The Uncensored History of the 80s Hard Rock Explosion, by Tom Boujor and Richard Beanstalk. And I found out about it because I got an email. It's like, hey, you wrote about this Chris Franz book. Do you want to write about this? And I'm like, sure, whatever, send it to me. And then we might do an author interview, but we'll see. But it's cool. It's really great, and it boils it down, and it doesn't hold back in the stories that you might expect it to have, which is great. Then I want to recommend a record by a band called TV Priest. They kind of sound like a cross between The Fall and The Godfathers. Kids, ask your parents. With a little bit of the Idols in between, sort of like Idols, Fall, Wire, in that sort of vein. The vocalist has got one of those voices that's like not a singer voice, but it's more of a yelling singer voice, which is always good. So yeah, I like that a lot. And then I want to recommend the Reds, Pinks, and Purples. You Might Be Happy Someday. It's basically a dude in his bedroom in San Francisco. He's put out a ton of these records, and they're really like catchy, sort of Bell and Sebastian kind of bedroom pop. And their album's coming out on Slumberland next month, so it's pretty great. And then 2 quick TV things, one of which I've kind of talked about a little bit, but in a different iteration. Deutschland 89 is now screening in America. It's the final series of the Deutschland series, and I'm pretty excited about it. And yeah, so
you guys love more than the Germans do.
Yeah, well, I don't think that show would have worked if the Americans wasn't so popular. So, I mean, first you had and plus there's that movie called The Lives of Others. So that kind of got Americans interested in that. And we are way more fascinated in the Cold War than probably people. Because for you guys, it's, years and years of oppression and division and all kinds of shenanigans. Yeah. But for us, it's like America, rah, rah, rah. So I think it's a cultural difference.
America, rah, rah, rah usually works well over here. But the thing is, we had our own wave of, we called them Easterns, which is kind of weird, but movies that dealt with that on several different levels. Some of them are really shitty, some of them are very silly, some of them were okay but boring, and I think we are bored with the topic by now. That's probably it.
Yeah, but it's really well done. So if you're a fan of like the Americans, or it's like the Americans but without all the American saccharine in it. And it's pretty great. And then the other thing I want to recommend, now bear in mind, what better way to spend a pandemic than watching a TV show about a pandemic? But I watched Russell Davies' It's a Sin is just
that's really good.
It's a towering achievement in television. And I thought I'd never say that about anything Russell Davies. First of all, it's worth it alone just for Neil Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick Harris is just terrific. Yeah. And all the actors in it are great. And there's only 5 of them. It's really compact. It's heartbreaking and wrenching, but it's like it shows you everything television can and should do. And it's pretty great. So
it's on HBO Max, right?
Yeah, it's on HBO Max for a limited time, and I think it's going to wider distribution. Somebody there is going to win. The kid that's the Welsh kid that's in it is really a good actor, and
isn't he in a band?
I think he is, but I can't.
Ollie Alexander, isn't he in a band?
Yeah, he's in Years and Years. He's the lead.
Yeah.
But the Welsh kid, the guy, the younger, quiet guy, who works in the thing. So, but yeah, it's a great lesson in how to write episodic television. But it's also, having lived through the AIDS epidemic and been like grossly affected by it, it is like it's like a fucking punch in the face in all the ways that like great film or television needs to do, right? And regardless of, I mean, you don't even have to know anything about the subject matter, but it's just like, when's the last time you saw television that like just emotionally like really affected you, right? And I'm not sure where's this Russell Davis been, for years, because this is like, he wrote this, this is like, and it might be a thing where the stories that are personal are the ones you do well, but he all the mistakes that he made in telling stories in Doctor Who, he's not doing here. There's a start, there's a middle, there's an end, and everything goes from point A to B to C to D, and it doesn't go like A to D. And it's very grounded in reality, and it's interesting.
Well,
yeah,
I'd hope so with the subject matter at hand. I mean, the differences between Doctor Who and this are pretty stark. I mean,
I think Years and Years was not as good as It's a Sin, but Years and Years was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah.
The last thing Russell did.
Yeah, I always thought that from everything I saw.
Years and Years.
Yes, no relation. Yeah.
Yeah.
From everything I saw he ever did, I always thought at least very competent writer. But
yes,
getting lost in Doctor Who must be very easy. I mean, looking at the last two seasons, which I think were underrated but still not great.
Yeah.
We have a great actress playing her, or actor. I have to the gender debate
okay.
in your in your language, in
English.
English.
It's going to change at Christmas. Don't worry.
The thing is, just a random fact for you. You're the women in English in the language want to be called actors and not actresses.
Mm-hmm.
In German, it's quite the opposite. They want to be gendered all the time, which is just stating facts here, because it's a weird difference between the languages in this case.
Change.
So I just wanted to make that clear, not to come off kind of weird.
I think out of all of us, you will come off as probably not weird. I think you're safe.
I don't think that would be a premiere. I usually come off as very weird.
So yeah, that's it for me, sir.
Cool. All right, thanks, Rob. Kim, what have you got?
All right. Well, so I have, first off, unusually for me enough, a music recommendation. And I would like to recommend everybody you can buy it. You can also listen to it. You can stream it on Spotify. And that is the soundtrack to the video game Tetris Effect. You may remember, I'm pretty sure that I've recommended the game Tetris Effect before, which if you haven't bought it, you should, because it's amazing. It is the chillest that you will ever feel playing Tetris. Like, the most relaxing Tetris can ever be Tetris Effect. And if you have the PlayStation VR, it's extremely good in VR. Weird though that sounds. But the soundtrack to Tetris Effect is just really good, just chill, but very kind of rhythmically driven. I don't know, I guess electronica music. But it's just it's a very, very good soundtrack in general, but I find it extremely good for like having in the background when I'm working, because one thing that video game music always generally has is it kind of drives, because it's meant to kind of keep you going. So I find it actually really good for tasks a lot of times to have in the background, because it's interesting enough to kind of distract you from getting distracted on other stuff, but it's not so dramatic that it'll pull you out of stuff. But it's good to chill by. It's fun to listen to. It's good music. In Tetris Effect, the game, it's actually, the music is an integral part of the gameplay, because every time you move a piece, it actually is synced to the music and builds the pieces of the track in as you complete lines. So you actually are you get to the point where you're trying to do things rhythmically so that it fits in with the song better. And then once you get above a certain score, like the beat will drop some, and then an additional vocal will come in, and it's really neat the way that it's integrated. But the soundtrack is now available on its own, and it's just super enjoyable. Stream it on Spotify, see if it's your thing, and then purchase it and let the composer get money from it if you decide it is for you. A book series that I'm reading is the Rivers of London series. I'm not sure if we've talked about that one before. I'm a bit late to the party on this one because it had been on my to buy list. It had been on my wish list for a while and nobody had bought it for me, and then I finally just bought it for myself. I'm enjoying it a lot. It's in that very Neverwhere kind of, there's magic shit happening in the regular world, but nobody notices until you have your eyes opened by something. And it's also mystery stories, because it's like the hero is a policeman in London who finds out about magic and that he can learn magic. So it's quite fun, and I'm enjoying those a lot. And then moving to something that has actually, weirdly enough, been a very much a comfort piece of entertainment for me of late, and I'm not sure what that says about me, is the newly released Hitman 3. Seriously, because I was a latecomer to the Hitman series because I didn't actually understand what they were. And I think maybe the older games pre-2016 were were a bit more like kind of traditional shooty, stabby action games, which I wasn't really that into.
They were
but
a bit
the
more
modern
unreal.
incarnation of the series, since 2016, they did kind of a soft reboot with just released Hitman, and then there's Hitman 2, Hitman 3, is honestly, I think it's more a puzzle game than anything, the way that it plays, because essentially it's a very unique game. It's very unlike any other game I've played. I play a lot of stealth games because I prefer to sneak around and kill all the enemies before they even know I'm there in a level. That's just kind of my play style. Also, because I don't have the best hand-eye coordination, so once things go loud, I usually die quickly. But the way that it works is they have built, and the company that makes this, IO Interactive, which is based, I believe, out of Denmark, they build these big, complex puzzle boxes of levels that are basically completely open to you. And you're given a mission, like usually there's a handful of people you're supposed to kill, and sometimes an additional objective, like, and also retrieve these files from the laptop, and also destroy this virus sample that he's carrying, or whatever. And you can pick your loadout of, you get one firearm, one tool, and like one melee weapon. You get like 3 things you can pick, and then once you unlock the ability, you can have something smuggled into a location in the level for you. And you get to pick what outfit you wear, and sometimes where you start in the level. And then you're basically just free to figure out how to do it. So you can basically knock someone out and take their clothes, and then disguise yourself as whoever they were. And you have to avoid, and certain people will know that you're not really them, so you have to avoid those people. But you can like blend in. There's certain clothes where you can do things that are legal for that person, but would be illegal for someone else. So like you can poison food and drinks if you're dressed like a chef or a waiter or a bartender or someone who serves food. But if you try to put something in someone's drink when you're dressed as a security guard, people will get suspicious of you. And the whole point of the game is to be surgical. Go in, only kill the people you're there to kill, and nobody else realizes that you're there. Like, you're not seen and you're not recorded on any cameras, and nobody saw you do anything suspicious. And the fun of the game
is that there are so many ways to get that done in every level. There's just tons and tons and tons of things you can do. It's a game that it's got a very kind of tongue-in-cheek sense of humor about itself, because like the inherent situation is really quite funny, because you're playing as a giant, like super buff, bald white man with a barcode tattoo on the back of his head who has resting murder face at all times. And whenever he talks to someone, he makes nothing but like death and murder puns. Like everything he ever says is like a double entendre about murder. But he says it in this completely deadpan delivery that I really find hilarious, like the tonal. But it's like they know that the concept is silly and it's not realistic. But it just becomes part of the charm of figuring out what to do in the levels, right? Is figuring out, okay, well, these guards, and it's usually a matter of, like, you know, you have to get to the 3rd floor of a building, and this guard patrols the 1st floor, but this waiter can go to the 2nd floor, but not the 3rd floor. But if I get the tech crew, they can go in this room where I can find this thing and go here. And then there's all these little hidden things you can do, like, you know, kill one of the targets with the other one by like pushing them off a balcony on top of the other person. And so some of it is very like, you can find ways to take a sniper rifle into the level, find a viewpoint and snipe them. Or you can do something like completely over the top ridiculous. Like the very first level of the first modern Hitman game is set at a fancy fashion show at a chateau in Paris. And you can knock out the star male model of the fashion show, put his unconscious body in a bin, take his clothes, go into the dressing room, get his makeup done, and walk the catwalk. Whereupon you then have the opportunity to take a meeting he had with one of your targets, where she's trying to recruit him to be part of her like evil spy organization and get her alone so that you can murder her somewhere. And so it's just like I killed a guy in the Swedish embassy by dropping a moose on him while he was giving an interview on live television, like a stuffed moose that was hanging from the ceiling.
As you do.
Not a live moose.
As you do.
Because
No,
that would be crazy.
the Swedes wouldn't do that, right? And so there's all kinds of little hidden, like funny things. And one thing I really appreciate about the way they've built it is that if you have the previous games, they're all in the same engine. So if I have Hitman 3, I can play all of the levels of all 3 games as if it was all one long game, because it is kind of one long story. And you can carry over your progress, because the idea is that you can play the levels multiple times and try different things. And as you get more experience in that level, you unlock stuff, like more tools or more costumes, or like now you can start in the kitchen disguised as a waiter, and it gives you some different things. So I've really enjoyed it because it's surprisingly not nearly as violent as a lot of other video games, despite the whole purpose of it being killing people.
Big murder toolbox.
It is. It's a fun thing. And some of the levels in Hitman 3 are really great. My favorite one so far, well, one of the levels is set in a giant rave outside of Berlin. And that one is very fun. I may have disguised myself as one of the DJs, sabotaged the light show, pumped up the audience to get them all hype, and then set off the climactic light show, which then exploded and killed my target, which was very satisfying, especially because the DJs were wearing like these white boiler suits and white cowboy hats and masks. And one of the people, when I put on the disguise, told me I looked like a missing member of Kraftwerk, which I found amusing. But the DJ level was a lot of fun. But my favorite level is the second level, which is Dartmoor, which is literally a Knives Out style murder mystery house. And you can play it in the kind of traditional way, where you try to sneak around and get disguises and stuff. But one of the disguises you can obtain is that of a private detective who has been asked to the house to solve a mysterious death. And you can play the thing and find the clues and interrogate the people and solve the case. And then after you do your like Hercule Poirot thing about who did it, then you have a chance to speak to your target in private in her office to give her your findings. and that's when you can get the opportunity, and it's so fun. And the other thing is with Hitman 3, you can play it in PlayStation VR, and it's backwards compatible to all the levels that have been released for all 3 games. So you can play the whole thing in VR, which is pretty neat. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the Hitman series. It's a lot funnier than you'd think and a lot more fun. And IO Interactive, who developed it, it has gotten the James Bond IP and are working on a James Bond game, which I'm actually really excited to see what they do with, because they've been having a lot of fun with the sort of pulpy spy assassin setting in the Hitman series, and I think they could do something really fun with James Bond.
Isn't there a License to Kill game coming?
I don't know. I just know that they have announced their next project is a James Bond game.
I don't think the Bond game has been named yet.
I don't think they've named it yet.
I saw some sort of weird cover art thing on, I think it's the Dragon Con Brit Track thing on that. I don't know where I saw that, but yeah.
And the other reason I like it is I kind of root for IO because they were acquired by Square Enix and were owned by them. And shortly after the first of the Hitman 2016 was released, Square Enix was going to close them or like divest themselves of that studio, in part because they needed to free up resources to develop that Avengers game they were doing with Crystal Dynamics, which probably was not the best investment choice on their part. But the IO team was actually able to purchase the studio themselves. The employees were able to buy it and get back the Hitman IP. And so since Hitman 2, they've been independent now and been kind of doing their own funding. And it actually was a really good kind of turnaround story for them, because the first game had a slow start and people didn't really get into it, but it gained a lot of following through word of mouth over time. And so as the series kept going, it actually got to the point where they were able to really now do quite well in their success. And I like hearing about that, because it's nice to hear the smaller studios being able to kind of get their thing, because you can tell they really have honed this to an art and love their IP and are wanting to do cool stuff with it. And it's some of the best level design I think I've ever seen in a video game, because they are incredibly intricate levels where there are multiple like shortcuts and paths that you can unlock and discover. There's all these different NPCs who have their own routines and their own things. You'll overhear not only conversations like, that scaffolding sure looks rickety. This could be a terrible accident if people aren't careful. But you also will hear people talking about like having a fight with their boyfriend, or I can't believe so-and-so didn't show up for work again. He's so lazy. And sometimes it's clues, but sometimes it's just like flavor in the world. So
Henchman number 4 is a really interesting backstory.
Yeah, and it's just cool. It makes you feel like you're being really clever. And another thing they do that is a wonderful design touch that it's a really good example of what great sound design can do for a game, is the level doesn't end when you kill your target. You have to get out of the level safely before you succeed. And you can't even see where the exits are until you've killed your targets and done your objectives. And then you can see on the minimap like where you can get out. And
sometimes, like, part of the thrill is getting away with it.
Yeah, the victory condition is getting away with it. But what they do is, as you approach an exit, the music starts to swell. And the closer you get to the exit, the more triumphant and badass the music becomes. And the feeling of just like walking calmly to the gate, or to a helicopter or a speedboat or a tuk-tuk or the sewers or wherever you're escaping from the level. And like, especially if like something's exploded in the background or people are freaking out and you're just walking away completely calmly while this music goes, you are the best Hitman. It's just great. It makes you feel like you've done something worthy, even though it's just, you beat this video game level, good job. But it's a lot of fun, and I have gotten a lot of replay value out of it. And also, because a lot of the levels are set in really beautiful locations in the midst of crowds of people. It's like escapist. Like there's this one where you go to a resort in the Maldives, and I honestly spent a long time in my playthrough of that level blending in on one of the lounge chairs on the beach, just enjoying it because it was so pretty.
Is that the one
I
you
have
did in
not
VR?
yet put on the VR headset.
Okay.
I just kicked back and done that for a while, but I may still at some point. Like you can go to a fashion show, you can go to a rally car race in Miami, you can go to a resort, you can go to the mystery level, you can go to the rave in Berlin, you can go to this gorgeous Italian seaside town. Like all the places you go are really cool. Well, I don't know, the drug plantation maybe, but the jungle is still neat to explore, and it is fun to duck around in the cocaine fields, just knocking out all of the drug people and hiding them in the bushes. Have I said too much?
Nope.
Hitman 3, it's real good. You should play it.
The wine level is great because you can go around and grab.
the vineyard.
You can kill literally everyone in the level by sticking them in a wine grinder in the
grape press thing, yeah.
In the grape press.
Well, I mean, the minute I saw there was a grape press,
Which
thing, I'm
is
like, oh
fake.
yeah, I can totally put that. No, we saw a video. Apparently, someone spent like 10 hours going through that level and painstakingly putting everyone in the grape grinder thing.
Literally
Just to
everyone,
see if he could.
total level kill.
Those are quite difficult to do because there's a lot of people in that level.
Must have been a Klingon fan.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like there's one that's a vineyard, and there's it's just a lot of fun. Like the exit from that is to do like a tango with your handler and like do the whole fancy dance thing. It's great. I love Diana. She's your handler and she's the best. BFFs.
So you like this then?
I do. I really
Okay.
do.
Just want to
Are you
make
sure though?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
You didn't
Yes.
say. You didn't say
Private
too much.
message me for my elite strats for how to kill somebody with a moose in the Swedish consulate.
And at one point or another, you can't do it now, but at one point or another, you could in fact kill Sean Bean in a level.
Oh, they've done that a couple times.
Yes.
That is a cool thing. They do live events called Elusive Targets, where they're only available for a short window of time, and you can only have one chance at it. So if you
Yeah.
fail, you can't try again. There's actually one coming up on February 26th, by the way. I have to remember to go play it. But it'll basically be, and there's been a
It'll
couple
pop
of,
up. It'll
They'll
pop
be-
up, and if you
yeah,
screw
they've
up,
repeated
it's
them a
gone
couple of
forever.
times. But they're not like always available. So Sean Bean, I think, was in there twice. I think they did 2 with him. Gary Busey was one, I think, one time. They're not all famous. Sometimes it's just, a level. And then there's like an online thing where people can make challenges in the different maps, and you can play those. So they do a good job of reusing those levels in various ways, where it's not always the same mission, but they might give you different missions that would challenge you differently. So you really gain a level of mastery over the geography of the level and figuring out where the best way, like in Sapienza, if I start at the safe house, I can go over the roof and slip over the wall and not need to get frisked when I go in. And then if I go to the observatory, I can go here to go to the attic, and then I can drop a propane flask down the chimney whenever the person's in front of the fireplace, and they'll die in the explosion, but I can get away and nobody will know I was there. Sorry. Those are all true, by the way.
And next week on the Gru Cafe,
I know, right?
So killing things, it's fun.
As long as it's in a beautiful international locale.
Yes.
The
always
grubby
important.
local hitmanning is just not as entertaining.
The local artisanal hitmanning is just not where it's at.
which? Nope, I don't hear which at all.
He's still no witch.
Hang on.
Now,
There we
now
go.
you can hear you.
Which is like, help me, the
All right.
murders. So many
It
murders.
was all the death. All the death.
All the murders.
Well,
Great
I
press.
mean, the other advantage is that the game makes it very, very, very clear that everyone you're
going to assassinate are bad people that
Sean
you feel
Bean.
all bad about killing because they're like they're all rich and horrible and also terrorists. Like
Sean Bean had it fucking coming.
right, it's like, you know, this inventor and race car driver funded war crimes. You know, like it really is to that level. It's very cheesy, but
Yeah.
it basically is like, look, we aren't Rockstar. We're not here to make you question the deep morality of the system that you're a part of. We're here to give you explosive rubber ducks that you can activate by remote control and let you have fun killing people with it. Enjoy. It's our gift to you from Denmark.
Nice. All
I've never
right.
been to Denmark, so I don't know if that says anything about them, but I do appreciate the free
John-
VR upgrade.
John, unfortunately, you have to follow that. Good luck.
I'll go extremely quickly. And I'll knock off a couple things I have on my list here. But basically, I'll just give you some feel-good stuff. As before mentioned, the Teenage Bounty Hunters, excellent show. I'm not 100% through. I'm 3/4 of the way through. It takes place in Atlanta. I'm not sure what part of Atlanta, because there seem to be a lot of rich people that I don't know whether
Rich
I've
white
signed up.
Christian people,
Yes.
Republicans.
Well,
yes.
Well, I know those people exist in Atlanta. However, I haven't seen those houses necessarily.
I'm gonna make a guess. Is it Johns Creek or Buckhead?
Peachtree City?
Yeah. So, and lots of people carrying guns around all the time.
You will be mad when you're done with it because it's canceled.
Is it?
Yeah. Okay, you're mad now. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know you didn't know.
Why was it canceled?
Because Netflix is stupid.
Yeah,
Because
Netflix.
Netflix never keeps anything going because
Yeah.
they know that you only subscribe for new stuff, I think.
But it just came out.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. I already suffered through this.
And also, I will point this. I will point this out that Dom had the same exact comparison that I had, which was it has a very Buffy the Vampire Slayer sort of vibe to it.
Actually, I had another thing. It's like a reverse supernatural because you have two sisters instead of two brothers. There's no supernatural thing going on, and the dynamic is completely the opposite.
They like each other
from the start. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Leaves you wanting more instead of dragging on into
I guess drag that one out as long as you can. Now I have to go tell my wife that.
Write your angry letters to Netflix now.
And in the meantime,
sucks.
archiveofourown.com can probably hook you up in the meantime.
Yeah, so Teenage Bounty Hunters, by the way, also has a lot of people that you've never heard of, or that's like their first gig, and it's done really well, except for Kadeem Hardison. They found him somewhere. Anyway, now I'm just completely thrown.
He's at a loss.
I'm sorry I shook your world.
Another show on Netflix, which is a fun watch, is Imposters. I don't know if you've seen Imposters. I want to say it was a Bravo show. I'm not 100% sure. But it's basically it's a story of people that get involved in this con artist sort of game. I don't want to give too much of it away because it is a lot of surprises in there. But Imposters is one I recommend. Back to what Madman was saying earlier about reality contests. Recently on Netflix, they released. I guess season 7. I didn't know there's 6 other seasons of this because they're not on Netflix. But it's Forged in Fire, which is essentially making weapons. Swords, knives,
atom bombs.
Yeah, well, things that you forge in a fire, and then they test them out. And if your things fail, then you get eliminated until there's finally a winner at the end that wins $10,000 or whatever every episode. It's really cool. It's nice. It's cool to see, basically, artisans
Trades
build,
people, yeah.
build weapons, but it's cool. The one of the hosts is a little too obnoxious for my taste, but you kind of get used to him after a while. He seems to be taking his job way too seriously.
He's the edgy judge.
Yeah. Well, he's the host. He's the overall host. So,
I was gonna say, how can you be the Michael Kors of knives? How does that work?
well, and what they'll do too is that they'll actually test it like on if you're a PETA fan, it's probably not the best show to watch, but they'll string up a pig carcass and they'll actually try and use the sword to cut through with
people.
With people, and as they stare at the pig, wondering why that pig is there, as they slice everybody else up in the audience.
But we brought the pig. Why did we bring the pig? If we
Barbecue after. Barbecue after.
Oh, the pig was for MythBusters. Oh, sorry.
I will half-heartedly recommend The Escapists, since you said MythBusters, which stars Richard Hammond and Tori
Belleci.
Thank you. My wife said he's really hard to look at now for some reason. He looks like he's been drinking a lot.
Hammond or Tori?
Well, Hammond, we know why he looks bad. He's been in about 1,000 accidents. It started a lot of time in the hospital. Has started to age his face a bit.
He's the main reason Grand Tour isn't happening anymore.
The insurance is too expensive.
The insurance is too expensive.
Yeah.
Like the BBC saved $2 million, over £2 million a year by not having Hammond on the show for insurance.
So, but yeah, The Escapist is actually it's sort of interesting. I've seen you kind of got it. It's a little corny, but it's sort of a blend of Top Gear challenges, if you will, and MythBuster, things. They're both fine. But anyway, like I said, I'm only half-heartedly recommending that, and you only brought it up because you had said something a second ago that made me think of it. So Forged in Fire, and then 3 real quick shots. If you haven't watched Schitt's Creek, it's a great watch.
Oh yeah, my list. I've heard it's really, really good.
Oh my god, it's great. It's a slow burn. First season, you got to get through it.
Get through the first season.
That is what I've also heard.
Because you feel like it's over the top until they sort of settle into their characters, and you go, okay, I can accept that this is actually how they are.
Yeah.
And it's very sweet and it's very good. Because folks, believe it or not, even if this isn't released for another 2 months, we're still in the pandemic. We still hold tight, still do the good things. So stay inside as much as you can. Anyway, so Schitt's Creek, and I know that I've recommended these 2 before, both Ted Lasso and Mythic Quest: Raven's Banquet on Apple
I need to
Plus.
see Ted Lasso.
Oh god,
Oh, yeah.
I've watched it now through 8 times.
Is the next season of Mythic Quest coming?
It is. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They have. I know that only because of Pootie. I forgot the actor's name from Community. His last name's Pootie, I think. He mentioned on a podcast he happened to be on that they were starting filming and writing season 2 for Mythic Quest, but of course, kind of all got
delayed.
Yeah, delayed. And I know Ted Lasso. They've started writing season 2 and 3. They've signed on for 2 more seasons at least.
Yeah, I think they said the third one's going to be the last one.
And I kind of have an idea of where it's probably going to go, but there's.
Yeah, I mean, with the ending of season 1, you need to.
So, yeah, those are fun, sweet. Mythic Quest is probably the meanest of them, but it's still at the end, especially their quarantine episode. That quarantine episode broke me.
That's the only episode of that I've seen, but it was really good.
Oh, it was
the one with the different story. That one.
No, that one is fantastic too. The one that's in the middle. I think that's episode 6.
Yeah.
I've watched Mythic Quest probably as many times as I watched Ted Lasso.
That's better than the entire rest of the show. It's a show on its own.
It's an interesting. My Sage, my youngest, they said they're really at that age where they're anti-consumerism and that kind of stuff. But they pointed out that episode really encapsulated for them, how corporations destroy art type thing. If you watch Mythic Quest, you know which episode we're talking about. It's like has nothing to do with the rest of the show. Well, only
there's a little connection in there.
Tangentially. And actually, if you when you rewatch it, you do see some of the things that were actually in that episode that are like on people's walls and things like that.
Yeah.
Corporations are bad. Brought to you by Apple.
Yes.
It's just those other ones.
It's just those other ones, yeah.
But yeah,
Samsung.
Those are the recommendations I would make to you guys. They're all sort of good, feel good, happy, not non-political shows.
Schitt's Creek is just great.
It is.
I have a quick question. Did Disney Plus Star start with you today as well, or is that tomorrow for you?
We don't get it for a while.
Oh, okay. Because it started for us today.
Because I think the way that's working is the stuff that's going to Star is the stuff we already get via Hulu.
That might be, yeah.
That's true too.
Because that's going to be all the FX stuff, right? All the FX stuff, and
we've got all the seasons of Scrubs, Castle, all that stuff.
So the reason all the other markets are getting that is because you guys don't have Hulu.
Yeah, which is nice though, because now we only have those 3 services I need to pay for.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that make us happy, Widge, do you happen to know how far along that Leverage reboot is?
No. I mean, I know it's happening, and I know that they've
they've
brought
got
back everybody.
So it's going to what
that? What's that?
I mean, they've got Aldous Hodge in it, so we know it's going to be good.
Oh yeah, and they've got what is it? Noel Wiley replacing Hutton.
Yeah.
While you
everybody else,
again, while you're waiting on that reboot to happen, watch Imposters. It's got pretty much that same vibe.
And Lupin.
And Lupin.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For all your heisty.
There is.
So you get the heist part with the Lupin, and then you get the con man stuff with the Imposters, and you just put them together.
There you go.
So you watch one episode and then you get an episode of Leverage.
Then you watch the A-Team in between.
For the Great Escapes.
Sneakers every once in a while.
All right, that's it. I'm done. Go to Amazon.com, insert funny joke here, and then Widge correct me.
Well, John is correct. If you go to needcoffee.com/Amazon, you wind up on the front page of Amazon, just like you've gone to the front page of Amazon, which you have. And if you purchase things by doing that, it costs you nothing extra, but we get kickbacks, and it helps pay for the server and my therapy. The one thing that I'm going to throw out for a quick recommendation, I think I've mentioned this before, is Ramesh Ranganathan from over in the UK has a show called Ranganation. It's RANGA Nation. And it's basically he has picked what he calls his Great British Focus Group of various people from different walks of life in the UK. And the first season was they had and his mom, who's hilarious. They had 2 guests in the studio with them, and that was the first season. And they would talk through topics, and he would talk with the guests about it, talk with his focus group about it. It was funny. But then they had to do the second season in lockdown, and they basically created a studio in his garage and through Zoom and Skype, and that is when it transcended and became fucking hilarious. And the third season, they're out of his garage, they're back in a studio with like just 2 cameramen, and everyone's still coming in through Zoom and Skype. And it is like a bunch of people just giving each other shit at a party, is what it is.
and then at the end of it, they play Trousers or No Trousers, where one person on the focus group panel is not wearing pants, and the guests have to decide which of the 15 people or whatever on the screen is the one without pants. And it is funnier than it has any right to be. So you can probably find those on YouTube. Just Google it. Again, it's RANGA Nation, Ranga Nation, and it's funny as shit.
That sounds amazing.
So it is late. I know it's already Thursday where Dom is, so we should probably take this moment.
Further, it's Wednesday here.
Sorry, I keep it's Thursday in Australia. So
might be.
So at this point, after we've completely destroyed the evening and several of your hours and brain cells, it is only right that we stare across the smoking ruin that we have created and very pleased with ourselves, simply sit back and say, dick pics.
Dick pics. And hitmen.
Penis photography.
That is the night you'll ever hear the phrase dick pic said. Thank you, Kim.
I do my best. I know my role in this group.
Wow.
Okay, then.
Lovely.
Yes.
So Teenage Bounty Hunters was canceled before it even released the first season.
Yes.
Oh, well, it did better than Swamp Thing then.
Yeah.
Or that Fantastic
You see-
Four movie.
You see, Netflix cares for you, and they care enough to save you the pain of actually getting involved in the show before they cancel it.
The first
abruptly.
season ends on a fucking cliffhanger.
Abruptly,
Yeah.
like right when you feel
Yeah.
like it's actually getting somewhere. They care enough to kill the show before you even knew it existed.
Daybreak was the same. Had a great setup for season 2, and it's gone. And it is still worth watching, though, because it is truly, and I say this with reservation, Matthew Broderick's finest hour.
Which show? I
when
didn't
you,
get
when
that.
you realize
Swamp Thing.
What's that?
You said Swamp Thing, right? Wait, what?
Daybreak.
Daybreak.
Daybreak. Okay.
Matthew Broderick was in Swamp Thing?
Yes.
Yes.
I thought you
No.
said Swamp Thing. I thought you were talking about Swamp Thing.
It doesn't matter. She's not going to watch it anyway. Just say yes.
I mean, I will believe you.
I know.
Swamp-
That's why I was saying that.
Swamp Thing is that character in Con Air, the pilot. He's called Swamp Thing. And that's what the show is about. Matthew Broderick plays Swamp Thing, the pilot from Con Air. I just watched Con Air today. I'm sorry.
Today, which was actually yesterday.
That's true.
It's still today until you go to sleep. That's the way it works.
Yeah, I
I'm
had a
afraid
day
that
that
that's
lasted
not-
a week that was not very good.
No,
Yeah,
that
those
is
are
how that
bad
works.
days.
All right. Well, we should run away before
right.
something else happens.
Yeah, I've got to have dinner and.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to sleep now, thanks to.
What do you
Teenage Mutant Bounty Hunters.
We keep
Anyway.
trying to call it Teenage Vampire Bounty Hunters, but anyway.
That'll be the reboot.
I
Again,
am
you can
so
find that
pissed
on
right now.
archive of your own.
I am so pissed.
Which,
Don't
are
worry
you
about
okay?
What do you mean?
Just don't answer with an ironic thing like you always do. Just are you okay? You look more pissed than usually.
No, I'm fine.
Good.
I turned off all the lights because the lights. I'm not in the basement like I normally am,
Okay.
and the lights where they were reflecting off of my incredibly pale forehead, and looked ridiculous. So I just turned all the lights off.
Okay. You don't want to know how long it took me to get the lights halfway decent in here. So.
I've had that struggle, man.
I just don't worry about it.
Well,
I mean-
obviously, but
I mean, here, there you go.
you can always do that.
I'm about as white as you are.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
now.
I mean,
All right.
look what
You know-
what we've all done to
you-
Kim. She's a cartoon now.
You know it
Me
is
now.
It is
But I'm a cartoon with the tiara.
There you go.
it is tomorrow, so I'm going to bed.
It is tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Take care,
Bye.
John.
6:30 a.m. Good
Thanks,
night.
everybody.
Good
Thanks,
night.
John.
You're here.
Good night.
Bye.